Okay, now I am here. Hello, Strong Eagle. How you are well? How am I? I am doing well. Today is a good day. I think today's a good day so far. Actually, it's I'm excited for today. Kind of. Well, for today and tomorrow, actually. I a book I a book that I've been waiting for was finally it technically released like a week ago, but I only just now because I have an Audible and my Audible credit renewed today, so I finally can get the book, and I'm super excited for it because I've been waiting for like over a year for it, and now it's out, and so yeah, so that's exciting. But I haven't really started. I'm like 10 minutes in, but it's exciting. Okay, let's see. But yeah, no, I'm good. I'm gonna actually spend another day just like fiddling around with this before I call it finished. Maybe I might do something else in here at some point. I don't know. But yeah, no, I'm doing well. Today's a nice day so far. I have like a full cup of tea, but I'm making more tea because this tea is cold. From, I made it like an hour, 2 hours ago or something, and I kind of forgot about it. You love a good book? Yeah, no, it's a book called it's the sequel to the book called it's The Will of the Many. It's called the Hierarchy series. It's kind of like a sci-fi slash fantasy. It's sci-fi in the same way Star Wars is sci-fi, right? Like it's a fantasy. Well, I don't know. They have like magic tech basically, but it's like seen as technology for them, but it's clearly magic for us as the reader. So it's basically magic tech, but it's like a I don't know. It's very cool. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it's a neat book. Um, but yeah, all right. What am I doing today? Ooh, that was good. Um, but yeah, it has a little bit of like academia type plot. So like not magic school because it's again not really magic, but it has like there's a good mystery. There's person going to school. It's sort of like this really messed up like hierarchical structure of the world where very much like you could draw analogies to capitalism or something, but like basically the upper top is like there's a lot of mystery and inequality, and basically you have this character kind of going in stealth who has like a a mysterious past a bit, but he's kind of going in stealth into the school, and he's a little bit of like I don't want to say a Mary Sue, but or Gary Sue. Like he's kind of like a very overpowered character in a way, but not really. Like just because he's kind of going in kind of undercover in a way, sort of under false pretenses maybe. Anyway, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but if you end up reading it, but it's a really good. I thought it was good, and I was waiting for the second book. And yeah, okay. I am gonna continue painting this. So I added apparently on the wrong layer last stream because, oh boy. Well, that's, oh no, never mind. That's not the wrong layer. What the heck did I do? So it looks like I had this and then I continued painting on it. No, this was a blur layer. Okay, that's different. So this is the layer that I was working on. So yeah, I added this at the end of last stream, like literally minutes before I ended. Here, I'll remove the text. I'm gonna remove the text. But yeah, I added this blur. I like it. I think it kind of gives you the effect of like if you're looking up in the snowy scene, it has like a haze and a fog because it's snowy, but it doesn't. But it's not heavy-handed. Like I didn't paint the snow, which I think is a little bit of a wrong choice in snowy scenes sometimes. I mean, I think it's okay to put a little bit of grain in there. I think I did that a couple years ago. I made a snowy scene, and I painted the snow, like all the little dots. I mean, I used like a filter, kind of like a like a dust brush that adds like a dusty look to it, and then I think I might have blurred it or something. But I added some snow last year, I think it was, and it just makes it really busy. Hey Rona, how's it going? Hello. Yeah, this is technically day 3, so we're doing a lot of yeah, it's day 3. This is my Christmas card. I'm trying to hurry up and finish it. It's not a moose. It's a reindeer. Not a moose. I keep calling it a moose. Rachiana, how's it going? Welcome, welcome. Stiller and all. Hey, Vex Jester, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. But yeah, today I'm gonna finish this. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm bad at font, but I think I'm going to rasterize the font, and then I'm going to like paint on top of it. So like I might do like a snowflake, you know, up here, and I'll obviously have to make it a snowflake because that's not how you draw a snowflake, you know. And then I might do something like you know, a Santa hat up here. And I might do, I don't know, something like that. That could, I always like that when things, you know, when you change the font of things or edit. This is a bad font. I'm so bad at typography. What's a good font? I need help. Somebody who knows more about graphic design than me, help solve my problems. Hi there, Rihanna. Solve my problems for me. Okay, let's see. I guess we can go through the font and see what's going on. Like, I kind of feel like this... I mean, this is like your basic time... No, I don't do... Oh, fun. Do you do typography? No. I avoid it if I can. I don't know much about it. All I know... Here, let's duplicate this one. Apparently, I can't duplicate it. Why can't I duplicate this layer? Duplicate. There we go. Now I can turn it off. Okay. Now I can play around with the font. Okay, so font changing. I don't think this is a good font, guys. I think this... I might have... That might be a bad one. What is happening? What is Oh, wait, there's two... Why is there two? It's doubled. Do you guys see that? There's another font behind my font. Why is there a font behind? It's one layer. Hold on. Did I have the other layer selected? No, not that. Hold on. What? It's doing it again? Okay, hold on. This is... Nope. Font behind font, not ideal. Okay, we're gonna... What if I do it on this one instead? Turn that one off, this one on. Select all. It's doing it again. Nope. So it's basically ignoring the layer that I have. And then when I type on this new one... Oh wait, I kind of see something happen. I don't know what's... Okay, delete that. That's my old one. We're just starting over. Hello, beautiful people. Hey, Ronnie, how's it going? Nekohimi, welcome. Hope you're doing well today. And Rihanna, I think I said hello. Honestly, Font Squirrel and DaFont sometimes have good options you can download and play around with if you want to start with a different base. Yeah, I think starting with a different base is good. But for now, I'm just gonna mess around and do Merry... Oh, let's do it in lowercase. Merry Christmas. Make it nice and large. Our basic... Okay, now if I change this... See, okay, now... Okay, there we go. See, like, these look ridiculous, right? I mean, surely this is just absurd, right? Now, if I do that again, does it do the double up? No, now it's working. Comic Sans? Do I have Comic Sans? I should. Trebuchet. What is this? I have on stencil. That's ugly. Tempa Sans. There we go. That's a sans font. I don't know what makes it one type of sans over another. Pepperly, hello. Okay, we have. What is? I mean, I actually like Comic Sans, by the way. I'm tempted. I am really tempted. It's just a good font. I know people like to make fun of it, but it is such a good, like, casual font that isn't too formal. I like it. I know people don't like it. People like to give everyone crap. You know, Avatar got crap for it, but like, look, it looks good. I know there's haters out there. I mean, what do I like fonts like this? Oops. Christmas. I'm a Comic Sans apologist. I mean, look, I don't know much about fonts, but every time that's the one font that I know by name, and every time I see it, I'm like, that looks really nice. You like this one? This one's not bad. It has like a blockiness to it and a 3D aspect, which is good because the image is in 3D, right? Is that logic sound? 3D font for 3D image? I don't know. That sounds, as a non-typographist, is that a word? Typographist? As a non-typographist, I feel like that logic works. Is 3D font for 3D picture. If you have like a flatter image, maybe a flatter font works better. The Twick one. Oh, hold on. Twick. I don't know if I saw that. Hold on. I don't remember which one that was. Abyss. No. Ooh, that looks like I hand painted that one. 8th Cargo. This looks like a comic. Oh, I shouldn't stretch it. That looks like that had like halftone in it. That was an interesting font. I don't like that. That looks bad. Like, I think I'm good enough. I know enough about fonts that I think I can say with confidence this one looks bad. I mean, it's kind of cool. The font is neat, but I think in the image, like, as a whole. To be honest, fonts is vibes. I don't know. I'm so bad at it. It does feel like vibes. It feels industrial. That's true. It does look a little industrial. Good point. Maybe not comic. That's industrial. Yeah. It has like the metal grating look. Here, maybe I can zoom in a bit more. No, because we need to see it in context, right? Isn't that important? I don't actually know what, like, the foundational principles are for, like, choosing a font. That's just square. Algerian. See, I kind of like Algerian. I don't know why. It's cheesy, but so is Christmas. Like, Christmas is corny, isn't it? Battlestar. Hold on. We got a font called Battlestar. Okay, I don't think this is a good font. This is probably not Battlestar for our... Okay, what about... Here, let me do this so you guys can see the names. Bernard MT Condensed. I mean, that's not bad, right? This is pretty... It's bubbly. It's you know, Christmas is bubbly. Oh. Let's go to Bernard again. Where is it? I've lost it. Uh-oh. B. Is there not a... This is not the best... Whoop. This is not the best graphic thing. Bondskrift. That sounds very German. I don't know what it... let's see. Bondschrift Light. There's a lot of bond shrifts. What's this one? Ew, that one's not good. Bell. Train script? Bond shrift. Yeah, train script, apparently. There's like 20 of them. I got 20 bond shrifts. There's Cooper Black. See, that one's not bad either. It's again, these very bubbly ones. I'm tempted to say I like them. I know they're not, like, I'm sure some graphic artists would be like, no, that's terrible. But, like, it's bubbly, it's Christmassy, it's corny, it doesn't look, you know... CSP, even though it's really good for comics, is ironically really bad for typesetting. Yeah, probably. And that's okay. I'm okay with it being bad because I don't know. Let's see it. Is it gonna do the stupid double up thing again? No, it's not. Also, it's not saving my location very well. Elephant. I like elephants. That's not a good font, though. What is this? Embryonic? Hold on. This is like Star Wars maximum. Also, I think I rotated the image, but that's okay. Why is it so big? Hold on. What's happening? Okay, this is just a bad font, right? This is like objectively garbage. Apply transformation. That's just a really bad font. That's extremes. Yeah, that feels terrible. Like, I'm no font master. Also, why is this off? There we go. Oh. There we go. Okay. What if we do engravement? Wait, engravers, MT. See, this is like, the noob in me wants to say that this kind of font is okay. Right? It's a little formal, but it has that, like, you know, it's a Christmas card. It's you don't mail out cards all that often. They are a little formal. But also, it's like, I don't know. See, I don't know if I want to go for bubbly and is there really any, like, anything more to it than just vibes? Because all I can understand is vibes. I think a font like that actually looks really nice smaller. Engravement or this one? The extreme sci-fi or the one like this? Yeah, I think this one would look okay if I centered it. So if I went centered... maybe a little smaller. Yeah, this one's not bad. I mean, it's not... Also, I still feel like it's rotated a smidge. Maybe not. Not the Star Wars one. Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. A Star Wars one would be a little weird. Gothic. I don't want... I know a lot of Christmas cards use very, like, fonts like this. They really, really like fonts like this for a lot of Christmas cards. I've seen this in, like, you know, just all over. I just always have found this to be a little cheesy. I don't know why. Also, I don't like fonts that make it harder for me to read. Like, I struggle with very... cursive-y fonts. I know this isn't that bad. This is pretty tame and this is easy to read, but I don't know. I mean, this one's not bad. Gosh, a part of me likes this now that I'm saying it. The all caps fonts tend to work well smaller because the all caps makes them easier to read even at smaller point and can look fairly clean. True. That would make sense. I don't want to spend all stream doing fonts because I'm not even there yet. Let's see. We've got more. See, this is out. I'm not doing this one. That just looks obnoxious. It looks Christmassy, don't get me wrong. Fonts like this, they look like it's meant for Christmas. French script. That one's not bad. I mean, again, this is just like classic skinny font, you know? Nothing fancy. What do you guys think? I should be saving these in like a separate tab so I can thumb through them. Maybe, okay, here's what I'm going to do. Does it allow me... Hello, good day. The painting evolved quite a... Oh, yes, it did evolve a lot since last... well, we did it all last stream mostly. I did a bit on stream, but I actually made a lot of changes pre-stream, and then on stream I did a lot of rendering. But yeah, no, it's not finished yet, but I am trying to figure out... Okay, so there's that one. So we've got a couple. We've got that. We've got that. See, that was the original. This one I think is already better. We can obviously make it larger. Okay, but yeah, I'm playing with fonts right now, and I don't know a thing about fonts. In fact, I know less than nothing about fonts. I feel like I don't even know what the most basic, like, when do you use serifs, when do you not. All I think of is, like, serifs are fancy, and sans serifs are not fancy, and then Christmas is, like, a weird middle ground where, like, it's a holiday, so it's kind of fancy, but also it's super tacky, typically, because you have, like, plaster elves and Santa Claus and all the folklore and the merchandising of it, right? The capitalistic side of the holiday. It's just a little hokey, and it's not... Like, it's cheesy, it's fun, but it's also cozy, so it's casual and very corporate, and, like, what is it, right? It's very busy, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's also supposed to be cozy. Like, I don't... Make up your mind, Christmas. So, like, can any font work? Like, how do you decide? Like, I guess I want this to be cozy, right? That's the vibe. Cozy, but a little bit busy? I don't know. I kind of like this one. Gabriola. Sounds like a name. Like Gabriella. That's not a good font. Georgia. Nope. Ooh, Gil Sans. Gil Sans. Nope. Goudy. Goudy Stout. Okay, that's too stout. I don't know if it looks good because it's off the screen, but it's Stout isn't the name of that. Ooh, dude. Ooh, no, not this. This is what a lot of when in doubt wingdings. Hey, Sir Cheesy, how's it going? So yeah, this type of font is the font that I see a lot on Christmas cards, where it's very cursive. It's fancy, and it's too fancy. Too fancy for this. My art's not fancy enough for this font. That's what I'm deciding. It's also just, I've never been good at reading cursive, so... That looks like it would be on a comic on the front. Futura MD Bold. Hold on. Okay, let's try it. Do you think that'd be a good font? Do I have it? Element A, B, C, D, E, F. Oh, Futura. I don't see it. Franklin. You tried streaming for the first time. Oh, how did it go? How did it go, Sir Cheesy? You said tried, so you mean you did it. Did I know that Sir Cheesy has his own stream? I do now. How'd it go and what did you stream? Uh, I don't see Futura. I feel like it should be right before the G's. That's freestyle. That's French. Franklin French, and then it jumps to G's, Gabriola. I'd have to download it, I think. High Tower. Well, that sounds This font, the name doesn't fit. I mean, this is not terrible. See, to me, I feel like this is an okay font. I know it's very basic. Is this too basic? Futura is a licensed font, but it probably comes with Adobe Suite. Gotcha. Bummer, similar to Trebuchet. Hold on, let's go back to... We do have Trebuchet. Hold on. We like the name of Trebuchet. I played a lot of Age of Empires 2, and I'll tell you, Trebuchets are great. The Japanese are a good Trebsiv with the fast unpacking. I think it's too... Well, I don't mind about the size. I can change that. I'm... What does Trebuchet look like? But yeah, no, I played a lot of Age of Empires 2, and Trebuchets have a special place in my heart. And of course, all the Trebuchet memes. Okay. No, that's just basic. That's ugly. I mean, basic's not ugly, but in this case. Yeah. Well, that's the thing, though. Like, something like this is very basic. And it's not bad. This type of font would be good if I end up changing things, like making the eye into like a snowflake. So, like, you know, if this had like a snowflake thing, you know, obviously I'm not drawing a snowflake right now, but you know what I mean. Like, if I made a little snowflake and put a, you know, a Santa hat on the letters or something, you know, I feel like there's some stuff we could do. Last time I downloaded a font, Paquito? You think so? I don't think so. I don't think that would... I don't... Maybe. Hold on, how do I download it? I don't know how to get fonts. I think download family. I don't want a family. How do I... How do I just download this one font? Okay, whatever. I'm downloading the whole family. By clicking download family, you agree to the ITF free font license. Is this sketchy? Am I gonna break something? Just get... Okay, I'm downloading the family. Did you just... Am I downloading something shady? It's a zip file. Open. Show in folder first. It's a super legit site. That's what somebody who is trying to get me to click shady stuff would say. Oh, it's super legit. Trust me. Trust me. Extract files. How do... Oh. I don't know how to add files. How do I add them? I've never added files to my life. Actually, I have, and I don't remember how I did it. I don't know what I do. I'm too stupid to figure it out on stream. I don't know if I like that extract. I did. Or I thought I did. And you should get a .otf fonts. Okay, I have 3 OTFs. Oh, and then I see an install. Installing fonts. Last time I did this, it crashed my computer, by the way, so... Another one. Medium. It seems to work. If I crash, it's blame Druffzilla. I'll be back if I crash. Okay, here we go. I've got the font. So now are they auto appear, or do I have to restart? Paquito. You probably need a restart. Oh. That is a pain. Hold on. Let me save this. Okay, let's see. Well, let's first see if they appear. I probably do need to restart it, but that's okay. We'll LMNOP LMN and it was Paquito. How do you spell that? Is that with an E? With an A. P-A. I don't think it's here. Okay, I do have to, yeah, I have to restart. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna close this then. It'll just, my screen will go black for a moment. It's going black. Actually, it might not be black. It might be here. Screen's gonna go black for a moment while I restart Clip Studio. Turn it off and on again. That'll do it. Always solves the problems. You know, you guys just getting me to install some shady stuff. Okay, here we go. Let's open up this. And now, new layer. Turn this off. Font. Merry Christmas. And we can make it Paquito with the... Let's see if we can find it. Did this work? Where's the P's? Papyrus. Paquito medium. Hold on, Paquito. Here we go. Two layers. And centered. And larger. It's not bad. It does have a little bit of a Christmas vibe to it. I will say, you might have done well. I think you did good. That's a pretty good font. I like, yeah, it's good. It's a good one. Card came out nice. Aw, thank you, Hut6. We're trying to figure out fonts because I don't know anything about fonts. I will say, I think these little blobby parts like this on the Y, they make for a very nice, like, snowy font, right? Like, where the little snowballs and some of it's kind of weird like this. I don't know why this shape looks the way it does, but yeah, Will you try this font but thicker? I don't know how to do that. Bold? Like, make it bold? Beef it up a bit? I don't know how to do, like, add girth to it. That's not the right word. I don't know how to make it thicker. I mean, this isn't bad. Should it be... Is that better? Beefy or... beefy or non-beefy? Bold or... I mean, bold is kind of good. That's there. Girthy font. I mean, okay, bold's not bad. But see, this is where... Okay, that's not bad. I like it. Bold is good. Yeah, bold's good. Okay, good job. Good job, team. We did it. We got a font that doesn't look complete trash. I don't know what else I need to do. I was thinking about adding like little snowflakes to this or something, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to keep painting on it. Yeah. Man, I will say typography is very... The standard S offends me personally. It is a little standard. I mean, it kind of has the vibe. I do wonder, like, because see how all these letters have this hard line here, right? Like, the M just has that line. Shouldn't the S have, like, a line here if they wanted to match? Or is that weird? Or, like, that? Maybe not. I mean, I have to do it on all of them. I don't know. The S is okay. Maybe change the color? I hadn't really considered that. Red. This looks like a horror movie. This is horror movie territory. Also, not a lot of contrast. If we go... This is a bad... I'm not doing red, by the way. If I make it black and white, you can see that there's very little contrast. We could do purple, pink, blue, like a white blue, like a cool white, or a warm white. So like a yellow white. No, I don't think so. Maybe like a red orange. I don't know if I want to change the color. I think white just works because it's Christmas, it's snowy. I mean, maybe if we went into like this territory where it's like a bright orange, like kind of like the light. It's not a bad idea. You like the lighter blue or yellow? Yeah, it's like basically white, but a little bit between red and purple? Maybe. Red and purple. Pink. But like bright or saturated? Wait, with the blue? Do we want it cool or do we want it warm? I don't think warm looks as good. Maybe it does. I mean, this is basically white. This is warmer, this is cooler. Oh gosh, I don't know which I like better. Gotta like think about it. Warm or cool? The pastel blue. It's not bad. It's a little bit less it's a little bit less harsh. Less harsh. Off-white was nice, like the light. Yeah. What if I zoom out? I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Like, this is the most perfectionist I've been on anything I've ever made on stream. I am not a perfectionist. I think the fussing over something like this is probably insignificant compared to other things I could be doing. But I think I'm far enough in at this point. I'd give it a darker outline though. Ooh, you think outline it? Outline it? I don't know about that. That doesn't sound quite right. We can try it. I don't know how to outline. I'm, you know, underline. No, we're not underlining it. I don't know how to give it an outline. And honestly, Clip Studio is not a good program for this. Edge. Oh, here we go. We can chunkify it. All the chunkiness. Hold on. How do I make the edge a different color? Okay, I gotta rearrange this. Size. Edge. Where's edge? Outline. Oh, there. Oh, that's just the outline. Do it by hand. Add some line weights. Oh, you're asking too much of me, Raychiana. Color. There's a color slider. Condensed text. Ooh, that's not. That's changing the kerning. It's neat. It's easy. Well, there is an outline. I just want to know where the color is. Mixing font. The thicker the edge, the more it looks like cereal that ends with an O. Like Cheerios. Yeah. Yeah. It totally does. Uh-oh, what happened? I lost the... Oh no. What have I done? Outline. Oh, here we go. We keep the outline. Is this all the options? How do I change the color of the edge? Right now the color of the edge is white. You're way behind on the video. Hello, Monster Cord, how's it going? Okay, I don't see an option. Line spacing? No. Transformation settings? No. Text list? No. Reading? No. Text? I don't see it. See, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking some added snowflakes. That you know, Mana Moppet, you and I've already mentioned that today. I think some little snowflakes, graphical snowflakes would be nice. I think you're right. I was really just... Here I am. I'm just waiting for someone to, like, confirm my opinion. So I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go with my opinion. No, I do think that's the right play. I don't think I need to do anything with outlines or... Like, I don't need it to be super in your face. Like, I don't want it to be about the text, you know? Edge. Yeah, we don't need an edge on it. I just wish I knew how to change the color of the edge. Like, why can't I change the color of the edge? I don't understand. Why have an option to add an edge? Oh, I didn't save that. No, I did. That is saved. It just is unselected. There's a layer property tab somewhere that gives you an option for outlines. Well, I found an option for outlines, but I just didn't see a color for outline. Doesn't... And overlay the edge. Let's see, you said... And overlay the edge on top. Make 2 instant... Oh, gosh, I could. I'm not convinced enough by the edge to do that. Oh. Let's make sure I spell the words right. Okay, let's try to do... How do I get a snowflake? Hold on, what do snowflakes look like? Am I gonna hand draw this? I think I am. Snowflake. Graphic. Do I just find some free to use art of a snowflake? Like this kind of thing? Those aren't... I don't like those. I think I can do better. stuff like that. I don't know how to make snowflakes. I feel like... It's not in the text tab? Okay. I'll have to look for it in a moment. I'm just looking through Google Images for snowflakes to see. A lot of them are very complex. I don't really want a super complex one. Like something like this, obviously this is not a graphic thing, but I feel like I want one of those classic, like this kind. I mean, that's very similar. Ooh, see, this is nice. That's a nice shape. It's very complex, though. Do I just, like, trace it? Or how do people do this? I assume when you're doing graphic stuff, you'll take, like, a photo and then you'll trace it. At this point, there's just so many, though. Snowflake. Silhouette. I think I'm just gonna take one off Google. That's, like, free to use, right? Just, like, a vector snowflake. Because there's a whole bunch of them. You know, if I literally just Google, I get this, right? There's a ton of them. Even something simple like this one. Free snowflake silhouettes. Clip art download. See, like... Oh, true, snowflake. Oh, that's a good idea. Hold on, let's go. We're gonna use Clip Studio. How do I do it? Clip Studio assets. Find brushes and more. Oh, do I have to log in? Antique snowflake brush. Twinkle flowers. Oh, that costs money. Free. Snowflake brushes. We could try that. Snow and snowflakes. These look more graphical. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's go, I don't know, this one. Actually, let's start with this one. This is the first one. Download. Totally leaking info. No, I'm not. It didn't put my password on screen. Thank goodness. I would have been very upset with Clip Studio. Okay, let me sign in. There we go. Now I'm signed in. Download. The material has been downloaded. Download will start automatically on device with Clip Studio installed. You can re-download materials anytime from downloads. Okay. So when does it download? Hello? Okay. Cool. Thank you, Clip Studio. I don't know how to use this feature. I've never used this before. I feel like a complete boomer. Okay, we are... Is it already in my assets? Window. They'll be in your downloads in the program? Yeah, but where is that? Is it in this screen? Okay, let's go back though. How to use materials. Materials. Okay, that's what it's called. Window. Materials. Surely there's a materials, right? Canvas. No. View. No. Do it. Oh, material. brush. Oh, what's this? Whoa, what was that? That was a weird... all materials. Oh, here we go. Snowflakes. And then I drag this into brushes, or... Is that it? Oh, yeah, got it. It got it. Look at that. Little snowflakes. Not bad. And they're all different. I kind of like it. Hold on. Okay, so this can go away. Wait, we have more, though. We have more snowflakes. Go back to the brush. Snowflakes 2. And snowflakes 1. And we can organize it later. There we go. We'll just minimize that, stick it off to the side, and pretend and forget about it. There we go. Okay, we're on track. Sorry, that bazinga, exactly. Huzzah. Yeah, we are cooking. We know what we're doing now. Ooh, that one's not good. These are like angular, which is... I feel like a kid playing with like clip art, and I'm just like, yeah, let's just make shapes and... Uh-oh, where did my snow brush go? Sampled brush. No, that's not sampled. Ooh, we could do this, make a wreath. Where did I put it? Uh-oh, I've lost it. Oh, here it is. It's in JStiller. Okay, Snowflake 2. What do these look like? See, I don't like that they're rotating. What about this one? They're all rotating. Why is only the first one rotating? You guys see this? Hi, how are you? Hazel, I am doing well. We are playing around with some very... You can limit the angle. Yeah, I don't want angle. Brush size, blending thickness, probably an angle. Brush tip. Brush shape, angle. None. Well, that doesn't help me. Direction. No, it's not even on. Oh dear, each one. Wreath would be cool if you did like 2 designs or another card design or another year. Yeah. I don't think a wreath would be good here. It's probably size? Maybe. Brush size? No, that's... It seems to just be the first one. If I just press them down, like a stamp, it does that. But when I make a lot of them, it does this, which is fine. I mean, do I even like these shapes? I don't think I do. Let's do Snowflake 2. These are better snowflakes. Oh, you know what? I think it is size. Yeah, if I press really hard, you're right. It is size. Well, it's an opacity thing. But yeah, well, maybe not size, but if I press very hard, it is flat. So if I go to pen pressure. No, it's not size. We'll turn size back on. It probably is some sort of angle. Well, I'm thinking that I need to first figure out how to make it so they're not rotating. This is something that I haven't done a lot of. Angle. Oh, you know what, though? I think every brush... Because there's a whole bunch of them, right? And I don't know... Tip shape. Circle. No, material. Angle. There is none. Density. Thickness. I don't think it's that. Pen pressure. Oh, it might be. It's thickness. Found it. Found it. Okay. There we go. It was thickness to pen pressure. Oh, you can't see the menu. Sorry. I didn't realize you guys couldn't see the menu. It's a pen pressure. It was pen pressure on thickness, not size. So what do I do with this? I don't know. I'm just playing around. What if, like, instead of the eye, we made a that? Now, this is too in your face, right? Maybe we could do something like some motif in here. That looks like spider webs. Man, this is hard. This kind of thing where, like, I'm using assets and I'm playing around with graphic design. Do I like that in there? I mean, obviously I'd delete the eye. They could fart one snowflake. I'm not gonna have a farting reindeer in this image. That would need an entire composition based around it, I feel like. I don't think you can just add something like that in at the end and not have it, like, be terrible. I think you have to design your painting around that. Or have so much of that kind of thing in your painting that it just kind of blends into the background. I know you're joking, but yeah, no, that's not happening. Not this kind of art. Okay, I kind of like this, though. Well, let's look at the other snowflakes then, because these are still... So now I need to go to... Let's see, what was this on? I forgot where I was. Ink. No, it was color jitter. Was it color jitter? Change brush tip color? No. Brush size. I forget which it was. This is the normal one, right? Yeah. And this is the one... What did I say it was? Thickness? I think it was called thickness. Brush tip. Thickness. That was it. Pen pressure off. Snowflake. Thickness. Pen pressure off. Okay, I've turned the pen pressure off for all those. So now I can play around with the variety. See, oh, I like these snowflakes better. These are way better. These have a... like a... They indent in a nice way. These are a little cheesy, though, but I could go something like this. Wait, also, if I do this all in one go, though... I mean, this is just obnoxious, right? Ah, yes. Peak graphic design right here. I think we are masters at this art thing. We are doing stuff. I'm not sure if this is a good idea. I don't think it is. I'm no expert. But you know what? It needs more, actually. We just need some around the top. There we go. Nice focal point. Create a focal point right here. Really just add in that pattern. That way we can... But no, wait, we can't see the Christmas, though. So we need an outline. This is... How to do graphic design. Add... Just add stuff everywhere? There we go. Maybe there's like a vignette. It gets a little faded as we go in. Also add a red arrow. Yeah, outline the things. Like this. Look at this. We're cooking. Look. It's a little bit of a vignette. It's like, yeah, maybe we need that a red arrow. Except the arrow is made with snowflakes. And so now you know where we're looking. Circle the focal point. 2 in each corner, but I want to see what you try to do. Yeah. Maybe 2 in each corner. Maybe. We'll see. I do think they'll need to be a little bit lighter. Obviously, this is absurd, and I'm completely kidding. But yeah, let's try this. Okay, we're gonna go back here. Color pick that. Is that what you were saying? 2 in each corner? Don't forget the emojis? Yeah. Totally. Okay. What if I did 1 in each corner? The problem is that the brush isn't random. Is there a way for me to randomize? Because if I stamp the brush, it's always the same snowflake. I don't like that. I want it to be random, so each time I do it... Okay, there's got to be a setting for this. Going back into the main... I hate this. This is the part about digital art and that I think really turns some people off. It's the... Not color jitter, brush shape. I do like the frost effect, though. Like the card font is thawing over. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's an idea. Brush tip. How do I randomize them? You think there was something to that with the frosted over effect? Maybe. I mean, I was kind of joking, but it sort of wasn't terrible. Yeah, how do I randomize between them? Stroke. Dual brush. Ooh, that's not good. That adds like, that's funny. That's adding an airbrush to it. Brush tip. Spraying effect. You were on it? Stroke? Was I? That's not it. What was it called? Brush tip. Is it this? But I don't know how... Let's see. Angle. I don't see an option to, like, vary it. Change the repeat method. I don't know what that is. Stroke. Repeat method. Oh. Random. You're a smart one there, Pepperly. I got it. Brilliant. It's in stroke. So now if I just tap it, each one is different. Well, you know, it's random-ish. Good job. Thank you guys for helping me learn how to do Clip Studio Paint. First time user, never used it before. That's what first time user means, I guess. See, this is obnoxious, though. This is so bad. But if I do go light, there is something... I mean, that's a lot. That's too much. Maybe just in the bottom? What about, like... I'm not totally sold on this idea, by the way. Maybe a frame with the corner snowflakes? Not to be back on the font, but I think decreasing the vertical space between Merry and Christmas would look nice. I think you're right. I think you're right. That's a good... Oh, vertical ratio. I don't think... Okay, that's not what you meant. I know that's not what you meant. I love it, though. Hold on. Okay, that does do it. Hold on. I don't know what I was at before. Okay, we want vertical spacing, condensed style, character spacing. No. No. Okay, I'll undo that. Vertical ratio, where text space alignment, line space. Oh, here we go. No, it does have line space. We found it. We found it. I also could have done it manually by... Yeah. Is that too much? I think I overdid it. Just a tad. I appreciate you guys helping me out on this. Okay, let's go back to spacing and alignment. 96.7. 90... Isn't that... I think that's better. 109.3. Sounds like a radio station. Okay, I don't like these corner things, though, that I've done. Those just look awful. You know, I'm teaching a graphic design course if anybody's interested. How to things like how to add snowflakes to your image and make it look totally natural. You know, stuff like that. Actually, the randomness isn't terrible there. It's a little bit lighter. Maybe the further back it is, the smaller it is, the lighter it is. So we do like an atmospheric perspective. No, that's too much. Too much. Oh, what if we went... Oh, I have an idea. What if we went really, really big, but then off the page? Like... Something like that. And then, of course, one for the eye. The more that I'm looking at this, the less I think the snowflakes are a good idea. Just throwing it out there. I think maybe they're okay for the eye. That's a fun little touch. If we come in here to the text, and I'm just gonna pick a regular brush for this because I don't actually want to delete it. Oh, that's not the thing. Hold on. Where's my font? Oh, here it is. Font up here. I'm just gonna paint over the top of it. I know it's not the best solution. And then I can take that. There. Something like that. Just a little bit of a... Just adds a little something, I think it's nice. There. I don't think we need anything crazy. I think just yeah, it's a touch. Maybe even make it a little bigger. That's charming. I think so. It's something. Oh, we have all these other things back here faded in the distance, though. Mana Moppet, how's it going? Okay. There's a bunch of other stuff on here that's, like, very faint, and I need to delete it all. Delete. There we go. Oh, there's still some over here. Somewhere. There we go. There's a delete outside selection. True, I did know that. There's also just a select outside, which is a thing I use all the time. Like, make outside selection. So if I want to color on the outside, I can color on the outside, and then I could just hit delete. So yeah, I could have done that. But you know what? That's not something I think about when I stream. Too many brain cells and problem solving. You could add a smaller flakes in the corner and maybe a thin border. So I think the thin border, I think you're right. I think if I'm going to add the small flakes on the outside, I do think the small border is the play. That is a good suggestion. Now, I don't know if I think that it's going to look good, but I think if I add the snowflakes, I do think that is the best way to add it. But I don't even know if that's the play. Can I do this? Oh, I can. Look at that. Perfect spacing. Hold on. Are we cooking? And then, is this all on a separate layer? That is. And then a line. I need a line brush, like a very pencil thin, hard edged. I don't know, just some line like this. I know there's a better way to do this. Okay, that's not... Not the greatest thing I've ever done. Not the worst either. And then we can fade it. That's not it's not horrible. I mean, the spacing on the text is a little weird, admittedly, because it goes over the edge. But, like, Could you just have the snowflakes in the corner? I could. You think just what, like one snowflake in the corner or just a couple? A rectangular box outline? Yeah. Yeah, rather than doing it by hand? I know. You're right. You're right. Okay, we're gonna delete this because we can do that again. Also, what's... This is on... This looks... thank you, Casey. We are... Man, we are struggling. I didn't know how to download new fonts. I'm learning how to use custom brushes like this and add things. Like, they didn't come with automatically randomization. So we're figuring out how to do stuff. And my goodness, it is, I'm really, my graphic design instincts are negative in terms of skill level. Like, they are so bad. It's actually a lot of fun. We had some ideas, like at first I was like, well, what if we just put them everywhere? And, just, nice vignette of snowflakes all around the image. And really drawing the attention, and that was an idea. It crossed our mind at one point, and actually I still kind of like it. It's so stupid. Graphic design, illustration, too. Yeah, I mean, I think my issue is that I think there's a lot of ideas in graphic design that I'm just not even familiar with. Like, I don't think it's really a different way of thinking. It's almost the same in many ways, I think. You're trying to match the mood, but I think there's sort of like an established history of like a design philosophy or ideas where, like, if you want to, it's kind of okay. So like in illustration, right? If I want to do something like make a character large, right? There are sort of established go-to solutions. I can put the camera angle low, right? I can look way up at them, exaggerate the perspective, right? There's all these things that are like solutions people have figured out, and they're kind of just there, right? Any illustrator is going to understand these types of solutions. The same things exist for graphic design, but I just don't know what they are. And so I'm like, I can kind of judge it based on composition and, if it has a similar shape language, but I'm still using very much like illustration ideas. And I'm not, like, I don't know the psychology behind like what the general public thinks about when they see like a serif font versus sans serif, or what different spacing does. To me, it's all very like, I'm kind of guessing in a way. Like I think there's some established norms. I just don't know what they are. And it's funny to like flounder. It's like trying to play a video game for the first time and like you think you have a brilliant strategy idea and it turns out it's just garbage and it would never work. But like I'm just guessing. I don't know. It's kind of fun, but it's also a little wild. Okay, so somebody said a line box. So a rectangle. I actually don't know how to do a rectangle shape. So if I just make a rectangle, how do I make this into... See, I don't know how to do this stuff. Selection pen. No. How do I make this into a line? I've never done line tools in Clip Studio. Okay, there is selection pen? No. Selection area, figure. Shape orientation. No. Anti-aliasing. It'll be a ruler. And then I just have to draw on top of it. I feel like there's gotta be a better way, right? This ruler. Linear ruler. ruler pen. Guide. Create an editing layer. No. Perspective ruler. See, I've never done any of this stuff in Clip Studio. Man, I am learning. Thinking about things in gridding and layouts is super different than exploratory nature of illustration. True. But a lot of the same things, though, like giving things space and, you know, what sort of drawing attention, like, you know, primary, secondary, tertiary focal points. Like, I think a lot of the same stuff still exists, right? In graphic design. It's just the way to think about it, I feel like, is a little different. I don't know. It's weird. I haven't quite figured it out. Yeah, you just problem solve really differently to get there. Yeah, that's what it seems like. Okay, how do I draw a straight line in Clip Studio? Because the way I would normally do this is I would just take like a brush and I would literally just hand draw it. And I would just align it on the grid. But this isn't actually going to make it perfectly consistent. It's going to give a little bit of that hand, you know, artisanal hand-drawn look, where it's still, the edges are a little wonky. You know, you have the feathering along the edge, right? Only this one edge is accurate. So I could make two boxes and overlay them and make, like, just paint in the negative space. I'm trying to figure out lifelong struggle. Yeah. And then maybe I tone this down and make this a little bit less intense. Like that. And maybe I bring it in a bit. To make room for our snowflakes that are totally going to look great. Let's put the snowflakes in the corner. Like up here. Just a 1, 2, 3. Is this... I mean, this is such a tiny little... Also, uh-oh, they're all the same snowflake now. It's not doing random. Why is it not random? I also don't think these are the snowflakes I wanted. Snowflake 2. No, those aren't random either. Hold on, what happened? Oh, these are random. No. Wait, are these random? Yeah, those are random. Okay. Yeah, I did only random the third one. Okay. Good eye. Make the middle of the 3 in the corner a little bigger. Ooh. I mean, this is... Oh, uh-oh. I should be on new layer, shouldn't I? This gives it that... you like how the sides, the spacing is not accurate? Like, all of these have a different amount of spacing to them. This is the thing where, like, I am so sloppy. Like, this is where I am not a perfectionist in painting. Now, this could be a little bit duller. Or similarly, this could be brighter. I don't think we want it that bright, though. I think we want it more dim. Do I like this? The bottom feels a little weighty. It's a little too heavy. I don't even know what that means, but it feels like this line is super bold. But I'm afraid of trying to fix it. It feels organic. Yeah, that. I mean, it's not bad. Okay, hold on. Now the font. I'm gonna just merge these as one layer. Now the font. Where's my snowflake? Okay, that one. Now this can be more centered. Yeah, if it feels heavy, the line as a whole could be thinner. Yeah, I think so. But also, I think just this line is actually thinner than the rest, right? Like, or it is thicker than the rest. So we could also just come in here where this layer is. We're gonna make that layer green for the border. And we could come in here like this and just hit delete. Although I actually feel like it's not. I mean, it has charm to it. We're getting somewhere. I mean, this is all very new to me in terms of this layout thing. It's a little much. It feels very handmade. I'm using handmade as an insult right now. It's non-professional. In not a bad way. Not really a bad way. I mean, it's an insult, but not really. Like, that should make rectangles. I think it looks great. No, be nice to yourself. I tried. I think your icon is a circle. I used one that makes rectangles, didn't I? Oh, this. My icon is a circle. Hold on. Wait, you might be onto something. Okay, let's try this again. We're starting over. That's not it. Circle rectangle. Now it's a square. Oh, that's what I was looking for. Why didn't you just say so? No, that's good. That's... I like how I just... Okay, brush size, we're gonna make it chunky. No, I'm kidding. Obviously, it's a me problem. I just didn't know. Okay, there we go. That's so much better. Hold on. We're gonna try and do... Should we set up a grid? Nah, we can just eyeball it. Who needs a grid? Uh-oh. Get down there. Come on. Did I just break my computer? No. Okay. Let's try that again. I guess I can scale it and reposition it if I need. Oh, you were trying to get him to guide box since it would work better with brushes? Gotcha. I don't know how to do that. Yeah, textured line could be nice. I kind of like this. I don't know. If we go this route, though, I don't think there's going to be a lot of space for stuff in the corner. Or in the margins. So now I'm thinking that this stuff, the text, where is it? These two are going to be red. So these feel like they should be smaller again. Also, every time I did this background layer, I just realized I made it was on the wrong... Uh-oh, hold on. We're just going to delete this one. We're going to delete that layer. We're going to make a new layer. We're going to paint this out with a brush. Because I don't know if I want to delete it from the... I guess I can just delete it from the line art, right? I can rasterize it. No, not raster. What's it called? Yeah, rasterize. Rasterize, and then I can delete. There we go. And then I can make a star with our brush that we just downloaded. That's not a bad one. Which kind of star do we like better? We got that star. That one's a little chunky. I think that one's good. Yeah, let's go with that. And then this one... Okay, so now this is our border. No, it's not. We can delete the green border. Where's our new border? This one, green. And then... God, my layer management is awful. Oh, the snowflakes could be connectors in the border. That's smart. You guys are good at this, the whole design thing. Okay, so here's what we can do. We can add them to the corners so that the spacing is better. And then small ones, I'll use the line as a guide for now. Oh, man, I would have never thought of these solutions. See, this is those things where, like, if I will remember this forever as, like, these are solutions. And then I could come in here and make a selection if I wanted. I'm trying to get the spacing right. And just hit... Maybe I should mask it. Let's mask it. Layer mask. Nope. Other way. It's not bad. There you go. Good job. Good job, everyone. That made it so much better. We could even go a little bit more, maybe. Like, a little bit wider here. Like that. Actually, I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of like that. Now, do we dim it a little bit? I think we do. I think we dim it just a little bit. No, hold on. Because it's not the main focus, right? Do we drop the opacity just ever so slightly? Or do we keep it bold? Now I don't know. And here I was thinking that I was going to continue painting on this today, and I don't know if I am. Maybe it's going to be, it's just a graphic design stream. No, that's 2 hours of, okay, it took us, well, me, I mean, you guys, so with help, with your guys' help, it took me 2 hours almost to make a border and write Merry Christmas. Oh, we're cruising. We're cruising. Think this time next year, if I keep this up, we will be we'll be able to do this. We'll have it cut down to like 30 minutes or something. I think the spacing should be the same from the line as the large flakes. Spacing from the line as the large flakes. I think I know what you mean. You're experimenting and learning? Yeah, I know. I'm kind of being silly, but honestly, this is the same way. Like, this is how starting to paint is too, right? You try to paint something and it doesn't work out, or if it does, it goes super slow. I think the difference here for me feels like this is just purely, like, technical in that, like, I don't, like, how do I draw a line? It's not that I want to make a line and I don't, like, you know, and I struggle to make it. It's just that I don't know where the buttons are, right? It's like, I feel like I'm searching through menus on menus, you know? Oh, I gotta download this. I gotta add it to a menu. I gotta figure out how to configure the brush right. None of painting for me is like that, right? Painting, like, I have 2 or 3 brushes I use. I've used them for years. I jump in and I paint, and I don't have to think about brushes and menu settings and where little things are, and, you know, and all that stuff I think can be probably very intimidating for beginners. I mean, even, like, I'm intimidated by graphic design stuff because it's just like, there's so many different tools, and you're using a lot of tools to do very little, whereas in painting you're using very few tools to do quite a bit, right? Like, everything is very versatile. I don't know. It's different. The very small flakes should be the midpoint with the similar spacing to the line to the large flakes. Gotcha. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. So a little bit larger of a spacing. Mm-hmm. I see it. I see it. I see the vision. So this space is like that. So this would need to be like that also. I don't know what I just did. Okay. And I'm just eyeballing it. So this is like that. This will also be like that. Just a little bit chunkier on the sides. So this is like that. This is also like, nope, a little bit wider. See, this one's bigger. I didn't even make these all consistent. Maybe I should have. It's already looking better. See, this one is tiny. That one's already correct. I think I already made this one correct. Yeah, that one's good. This one can be bigger. This one can be bigger. There. Look at that. Look at that. We did this. We did this. Okay, so now, what are these layers? I don't know what this layer is. I'm going to delete it. What's this layer? I don't know what that is. I'm going to delete that one. And then we have some old font layers. Yes, she's beautiful. I love the rocks in the foreground. Thanks. Good job, chat. Yeah, good job, chat. Seriously. Amazing. Okay, now we are on our way to being a total pro. Look at us. What if we put a midpoint snowflake? No, that's too much. I think midpoint snowflakes would be too much. Okay, now let's go back to painting a little bit. We haven't painted yet today. What if we did a whole painting with a snowflake brush? We could do it. Okay, let's use a regular brush like this. Now I'm tempted to put some of the white that we have from the text in here, but is that too much? Okay, I think what I'm going to do is make all of this... Okay, I'm going to make that a color. That can be green as well, because that's part of the border. And I'm going to make this a group, and I'm going to minimize... I'm going to turn off that group. So that'll be a... Because what are all these layers? I don't know. What if I just delete them? There we go. That's my fog layer. We can even... I'm going to even tidy this. I'm going to label this. Look at this. We're going to rename. No, I don't know how to rename. We're not going to rename. How do I rename? Oh, here we go. Fog. Okay, now... Do we want the... Wait, that's not fog. That's fog. I mean, I don't really know what else to add. Honestly, I mean, maybe there's some cleanup we can do. Like, around the edges here. I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect. How's this stuff look when we add this and the fog back? I mean, you really can't see it. I think the biggest thing is, like, how bright are the lights? And I feel like the light should have a twinkle effect. This is very, like, a weird thing for me to do here. Okay, so what if the lights have a twinkle effect? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to merge visible. Do I do it through the fog or not? Actually, I guess the building isn't in the fog. I'm trying to think if I want to flatten, because when I do color dodge, I typically flatten the image first, because it just is nice to do on top. But I don't know if I want to flatten it with or without the fog, and then add the fog as like a last thing. Because I'm going to be changing, I'm going to try and twinkle these lights a little bit, just add some variation and maybe make some brighter. I don't think it matters, actually, because I don't think... I kind of deleted the fog around. See, if I move the fog, you can kind of see it's not in front of the building. There's like a hole there, because I wanted the building to be sort of forward. I think I just flatten it with the fog. It'll still be there if we need. Now this is all one layer. So now I can come in here, do a glow dodge. We can delete that layer or menu. And we can come in here and... Man, I'm learning a lot today. Some twinkly lights. Just different brightnesses to different lights, basically. They're not all gonna be the same brightness. Just give a subtle twinkle. I gotta go, but excellent stream. That was so fun. I'm glad you had fun. I was over here sweating. No, I did have fun. It was fun. I learned some stuff. I that was extremely productive. You know, a lot of streams we, putter around for a bit. We make something that looks nice, but it was kind of the same old stuff. This was very nice. Thank you so much for the help, by the way. You had lots of good suggestions. Everybody did. Chat knows best. I'm never gonna not trust chat on graphic design matters. You guys seem to know your stuff. Maybe I should not say that, though, because there might be a time where I feel like Twitch as a whole, chat is generally not super reliable, but you guys were extremely reliable. The idea of like putting the spacing here, that was really good. It looks nice. I mean, I think this is good. Do we call this finished? I mean, I could keep painting on this and make it more detailed, but I kind of like the painterly stuff, you know? I think this reindeer needs some help. Like an eye. It needs an eye. Or at least the formation of an eye. That'll work. I mean, this is very small. Also, where does my name go? Do I put my name down here? Like, I don't know how to do cards. Do I sign? I guess I sign the back of it, right? I don't put, like, from Joe Stiller, right? That's weird. Is that a weird thing to do? Like, that's not normal, is it? You don't normally make cards like this, right? I don't... Hold on, what do Christmas cards look like? Hold on. Personalized Christmas cards. Do they have your name on them? Where do you put your name on a card? Merry Christmas. The Miller family. Okay, it does say that. Like this one. It does have the Stiller family. I mean, I'm not really a family. I'm like one person. Writing the Stiller family would be weird. Under Merry Christmas in your handwriting. Merry Christmas, Joe? That sounds like it's addressed to me. Merry Christmas, filled with love and laughter. Love the Williams family. Okay, you shouldn't have repeated love there. That's weird, right? Love and laughter, love the Williams family? I don't know. I'm just looking at generic cards and seeing how they do it. What about this one? More a lot of Williams family. Okay. The Thomas family. These are like the same. I think these are all AI. Maybe not. So they do seem to have a name. The Joe Stiller family. I don't think I'm putting that. Let's see. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, I don't like the font. That's what I mean, this isn't bad. Do I just write my name here? Just put Joe, I should probably capitalize my name. Like that? I mean, is that literally... I mean, I could put it in the thing. So why does the J look so tiny? What's happening there? I don't know. It's almost not bad. It looks... Why the J look like that? I don't know. I don't know why the J looks like that. It's the font. I will need to change the font. Use a smaller font that's thinner and stretched out. Yeah. I will. I will use a different font, Charzia. I'm kind of just... Oh, what is happening? I'm just trying to figure out... It does look like a book cover, and I don't... Coming... yeah. Coming this fall. Movie poster. What's the purpose? It's a Christmas card. It's gonna be the card that I send to, like, my family. Keeps the form. The J is so... That's so funny. What... Who made this font? And who thought this was a good idea? I don't know why that is so stupid. Keep the from Joe Stiller? Okay. I can keep the from Joe Stiller. It does look like a book cover. If it's all your family, why not just Joe? That's true. That's a good point, Pepperly. Hold on. You're smart. But then it's okay, from Joe. I'll just put from Joe. From... Oh, wait, okay, now... Hold on. From Joe. I mean, the font's still not good. Also, hi, Charzia. How's it going? From Joe... That's not bad. That's not bad. Now the question is, do I put it in here? Like, do I break... Do I do that? Is that a graphic design brilliance? Or is this just stupid? I mean, higher up? Oh, okay. So you're saying in the frame. So you think above the line though? Is that the play? See, I'm a noob here. I don't know anything about graphic design. I'm just going with the flow. You're doing good, by the way. How am I? I'm doing good. We are learning how to do some basic graphic design in Clip Studio. Simple typography. You're doing art for Casey's Dinovember. Oh, that's awesome. Keep it in the line. All right. Dump Truck Davies. How's it going? Hope you're doing well today. You'd probably put it right under the Merry Christmas. That's actually a good idea. Hold on. Let's try that. That's actually not bad. I think that reads better. And again, this font can change. I'm just purely thinking of spacing right now. Just about to go to work, but this is beautiful. Aw, thank you. I think this is my favorite. So I've done a bunch of holiday cards in the past, and I can show you guys them. Please ignore the font, because this is the first year that I've actually cared about typography at all. Hold on. Let's see if I can find them. I don't even know where I've saved them. So one year I just did a handwritten thing. So this was literally my card, and yes, I wrote from Joe Stiller. It's very, but that was my card. It was just a cat painting. The tree needed some help. Very loose, very simple. Also, this thing looks like it's been destroyed. So that was my card one year. I don't remember which year. And then another year... Was this my initial sketch? This might have been the same sketch. I think this was the sketch that led up to it, yeah. Okay, where... they're all in different spots. And then Oh gosh, I don't know where it is. Last year we had the whole thing. This one. Uh, this was my card last year. Which I like this. This was like a full-on illustration. There's a lot going on. I actually had a lot of fun with this. This was the first time I did like a multi-character illustration. But this year I wanted to do vertical again. Looks like a puzzle. Kinda, yeah. A little bit. Yeah, with the yeah, it's very detailed, right? It's detailed like a puzzle would be in that like there's a lot of different parts and each part could have a yeah, that's true. That's very puzzly. And then this is this year. So it's a little different. I don't know. I mean, I do like this one. This one was nice. Also, I don't think I actually signed it with JStiller30. I think I did that as like a print. So I think I also made prints of this to send out to people. Like a little postcard. And I think I signed it that way because like people on stream. I think some people on stream got it. But yeah, I mean, I like this. Okay, this font's gotta go, though. That's not the right font. Do we... Okay, isn't the idea that if you have a serif font, then you use a sans serif font for the rest of it? So, like, the Merry Christmas is a serif font, so you're supposed to not use a serif font for the rest? Isn't that, like, the gold standard advice for script and subscript? What is this? What am I... What's happening here? Probably handwriting for the personal touch. That's not a bad idea. Okay, let's try it. My handwriting's so bad. It looks like a child wrote it. Hold on. Wait, the from needs to be capital. Hold on. We from... Okay, I can't even spell properly. From Joe. Oh, a handwriting font. Oh, okay, yeah, I don't think my own handwriting's good. Okay, hold on. I should probably do a handwriting. I don't think I have a handwriting font. I'll have to download one. Let's do that. Let's get a handwriting font. A child scribble font. It would be a nice touch. I remember back in like a couple years ago, we were joking about like something I made look like a child wrote it. And then I think it was Fish did a drawing of my art, but he grabbed a font that looked like a child wrote it, and I genuinely thought he wrote the thing because it was so like chicken scratchy, but it was actually a font, and something like that would be fun. Yeah, I don't think I have a handwriting font. Maybe I do. What would it be called? Ooh, what's this? From Joe. Nice. See, does that... Handwritten. Is that too similar to the... Wait, the first one, right? Also, just copy-paste doesn't work, right? Because I don't have the font installed. Yeah, no, that doesn't work. Okay, so I'll have to install it. Comico. Is this Comic Sans handwriting style? Did you just give me Comic Sans? You can toggle on script too. Ooh, that's no. I don't want that. I'm not doing script writing like cursive. Nope, nope, nope. I'm anti-cursive. I think it needs to go away. I have a story about this, by the way. So I have always struggled with cursive. Like I know how to write in cursive and I know how to read in cursive, or I know how to read cursive handwriting, but uh, everybody learned to write it a little differently, and my grandma only writes in cursive, and she does like big flourishes, and it's this whole thing, and it's her writing. It looks beautiful, but I can't read it. I can't. I actually spent like 20 minutes trying to decipher each letter, and I could not do it. So I had to give it to my mom, and I'm like, "Can you read what my grandma wrote me?" And she's like, "Oh yeah," and she just read it easily. I'm like, "How did you do that?" Like that was like magic. And I felt like it was in a different language, which is funny because I can write in cursive. I know how to write in cursive. I mean, I don't do it ever, but like, it's just she has such like flourishy things, or such flourishy handwriting. So anyway, I just don't like. I know a lot of people write in cursive, but I just don't like it. It's I don't know. I mean, I guess it looks nice, but let's see. Google Fonts from Joe. What's this other one? The last font share one. Handwritten script. Oh, that's the one that I already clicked. I didn't like that one. Hut says, "Oh, this is nice. Thank you, Hut. I appreciate it." Is the card complete? No, I'm trying to find a handwritten font that says from Joe. So something like that, where it's like I wrote it, but not that I wrote it because my handwriting sucks. So a handwritten font's a little bit better than my handwriting, but less nice than like a perfectly nice font. I think that's what I'm doing. I mean, I could do the whole like, how do you write a J? You can't even. From Joe. No, I'm not doing cursive. Just do yours. It's clean and personal. Okay. It's not bad. This one's nice. Let's take a look. Yeah, Raychiana, you might be right. Oh, I like that one. Whereas disregard and contempt for human rights have resulted. What is the text there? What am I looking at? Why is this text? Is this supposed to be like the quick brown fox jumped over the lazy dog? Except it doesn't, it's missing half the letters. There's no Z. What's with this text? I do like the font. The font's nice. I think that's better. Get font. One font selected. Download all. Google font. I trust Google. Ah, Raychiana, thank you so much for the sub. That is very generous of you. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you. From Joe looks good to keep. You think that looks good? Well, let's try. Well, actually, yeah, let's try this. I'll have to restart Clip Studio if I want to install the other font. I will real quick. Wait, what is a .ttf? True type font file. I thought it was an OTF or something. Whatever, I'm gonna install it. Your writing here is very nice. No, thanks. There's open type and true type. What's the difference? They're both font files. Okay. Gotcha. Thank you, Drupzilla, by the way. I really appreciate all your advice and help. I'm learning a lot. They're both good? Okay. Instead of Merry Christmas, you could put Lorem Ipsum from Joe. Yes, Lorem Ipsum from Joe. Okay, that's not bad. Now, do I want to continue painting on this? I think we're good. What do we do? You know what? I'm curious. So you said you're working on Casey Snow's Dino-Vember, right? Let's see, is she online right now? I'm not gonna raid her right now. Casey Snow art Twitch. Why is it not auto-filling? Is she live? Because I kind of want to do a Dino-Vember painting. That would be fun to do, like a quick... top text, bottom text. Yes. Just a complete template. She was like 2 hours ago. Gotcha. What's the dino for today? I think last year I did the Gigantosaurus painting, which was fun. So yeah, that's good. Learning how to typeface. That's not the right word. Typeface? No. Yeah, I mean, we could continue painting on this and just, you know, again, I don't want to make it super polished because it's kind of, you know, I want it to look like my art, and any more polished than this. I mean, there are some things like this that I don't like, you know, it's a little unclear what's happening. Demonosaurus? Hold on, is that real? That sounds like a dino from hell. Demonosaurus. That's amazing. Is that a real thing? Hold on. It's a theropod. Yeah, I would love a link to that. I would love a link to Casey's compilation of the Demonosaurus. The name sounds like it's a dinosaur from hell. But it would be fun. It would be fun to try and paint it. I think any sort of creature painting, you're struggling to pick colors for it. What goes well with dark purple blue? Like a blue-green, maybe? I don't know. It depends on the saturation, right? Also, this painting is obnoxious. So, here, let me show you what I would... I mean, this isn't exactly what I would do, but let me open up a file. Let me just make a new file here for today's stream. There we go. Have I heard of Obamadon? Wait, is there really a dinosaur called Obamadon? That's hilarious. Is it? Wait, is it actually named after Obama? Because that would be even greater. An Obama dinosaur? I don't feel like that would be a thing, right? Now I'm curious, is Obamadon really real? For some reason, my colors are just not working in my piece. So do you have like a background color or anything? Because I'm always curious, because when it comes to colors for me, what did you say your colors were? With dark purple. Wait. There's quite a few creatures named after Obama. Wait, really? Why? Why does Obama have animals named after him? Did he take part in the discoveries, or just people thought it would be funny, or like what's the... Now I'm very curious. You said dark purple and blue. So I think with something like dark purple and blue, right? I feel like purple and green have always gone well together. I don't know if this is what you mean by dark purple. Like something like that, maybe? Because purple and green, but like if you went really subtle... I mean, kind of like the background color of this painting, to be honest, right? Where you get like really... something like that. You get kind of like a murky gray, kind of. Especially once you start mixing them, then you... I mean, I don't exactly know what your colors are, but... like, because the blue-green always works, right? Like, whenever somebody gives me, like, 2 colors on the color wheel, I kind of think, like, okay, if you're kind of in the blue-purple range, then, like, a gray of the other color. Or if you're in, like, if you're using opposites, like a green and pink, for example, then I would recommend, like, picking, like, a reddish or a purplish, or, on the other hand, like, a yellowish with the green. That way you kind of have, like, the... I don't know what you call it, but like there's different color schemes where like you could go here. Let's make this larger, right? Where you could have like a yellowish and a greenish, and then you have like a desaturated like purple, right? That could be and I feel like these tend to work pretty well, even if it's like a grayish or something. And they can be natural. I don't know. I always have liked those color palettes. Or if you have like a purple and a blue, then the opposite would be like a light green. And so it's kind of, you kind of have these I mean, you could also go like an accent of green too, right? But generally I find that like if you're going to have 2 colors, oftentimes you can end up mixing them. And so that third color is kind of being mixed into all of them. And so you kind of get this range of color and like maybe I find that to be nice. Same thing here, right? If you have like a purple or something or a pink, and you mix the yellows, maybe some light yellow, into the greens, maybe some darker greens. Then that opposite with that purple will add like a nice gray to balance it out, kinda. I don't know. That's always been my sort of go-to. Like if you're gonna add a third color, just put it next to one of the 2 colors you already have, unless those 2 colors are already next to each other, then go opposite. I don't know. It's not like it's not the only way, obviously. There's lots of ways to choose colors. I think, honestly, the real color advice is it doesn't matter so long as you mix the colors and you have some variety of saturation amongst them. So like if you were to hypothetically pick 3 super saturated colors that are intentionally going to be awful, maybe even a red, right? These would not look good, but if I were to drop the dark, have a range of darkness, so I already do, but maybe I make the red a little darker, and then I have a green, maybe drop the saturation a little bit, and then I start mixing them, right? I get a lot of... Let's get a smudge brush. This is kind of how I paint, right? I do a lot of color mixing. It's kind of like starting with a simplified color palette. So I get like some greens and some reds in here. And, you get this nice, the green is almost gone. So I could add like a little accent of green back. Maybe I crank up the saturation, right? So like that can start working. But then also like this orange, like how does that play in? Well, if I mix that into the green here, it gets a little duller. If I mix it into the red, we're going to get some orangey colors. And like once I start mixing them, and if I add enough of it and get a range, now there's some browns in here, right? Because this bright orange has dulled down with the red, right? And suddenly it's like, oh, these colors actually work well, right? And that's how I tend to find color palettes is I pick like the hue that I want, but then I adjust the, I have a light color, right? I have a dark color. Somewhere in the dark or the light is saturated. In this case, it's both. I have some desaturated colors. I allow them to mix, which is where they really get desaturated. If you have opposites on the color wheel, this is just like general color theory kind of, but like if you have like a green and a purple or a red and a teal, like when you mix those, they're going to naturally make your desaturated colors. So you kind of don't even have to worry about desaturated stuff or about getting too saturated if you have, Again, I wouldn't ever use that bright of a red, but, you know. And then a teal. Like, if I mix these together, I'm going to get those grays, and those are going to look pretty nice, right? Especially when I start really mixing them together. You know, this is where I think the real magic of color palettes happen. And then from here, it's like, okay, this is my color palette, right? And if you wanted to add another color in here, again, you could pick any color you want. You could pick a pink, you could pick a yellow, right? And as long as you're mixing, you know, mix some of that yellow with the red, you get a little bit of an orangey accent. You know, it could be like the tip of a feather with a little bit of yellow. Same with the blue, you get some of that greener color, but maybe you don't want much of that green. Maybe you do. I don't know. You mix some of that this red in here, and you kind of get a whole spectrum of colors. And I find that just mixing colors like this, I don't know, I find that it's hard to end up with a bad color palette as long as you're mixing all the colors together. And when you find colors that look nice, you kind of pull those aside and say that those are the colors. Like maybe the green, you say that doesn't really look great. Great, then don't use it, you know? Okay, can I send you a link to the work? Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if I can give a good critique, but you know, we can play around and see. I don't really have any plans for the rest of stream. You know, we made this card, which I like. I'm happy with it. I should probably save it. But yeah, that's just like my standard, my go-to color palette sort of planning. That's the same way that I get a color palette like this. You know, I probably started with like a blue sky, a purple foreground, and I probably just mixed them. And then I'm like, oh, let's add some red. And then I added some bright red spots, you know, whether it's candy canes or whatever. And I just started mixing, you know. I think at some point I also used a glow dodge, which is always a fun way to get color palettes. You know, you pick a color like an orange, and you just kind of add that to all your existing colors. Well, maybe with a better gradient though. So you go in with like an orange light, and you're like, what if these colors were being lit, you know, with a light? And suddenly you have like this glowing effect. And then if you make a new layer, you can treat this as a new color palette, and suddenly you have bright yellow, bright orange, and then you get these duller colors. You know, it's a whole range of things, and you kind of already split your, you know, this actually kind of looks like an apple or a peach. You know, you've got your shadow colors in here. You've got like green. But yeah, no, you're definitely more than welcome to link stuff. And obviously this doesn't work for everything. This is very painterly, but it I think the overall color palette can look nice. These colors are doing nice things to your brain. Mine or Charzia's? I haven't seen Charzia's yet, but thanks. I'll just assume that you're talking about mine. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to go wrong with colors like that. Like, this is why when people talk about traditional painting, you know, you oftentimes, like, paint with a limited color palette. That is such common advice. Because once you start mixing, a lot of that color work sort of works on its own, right? It's sort of, it's the colors will harmonize because every color is made of the colors next to it. And of course, and I think one of the problems also is like when you like, oh, well, now I want a background. What if I add blue? Well, this is where it gets tricky, right? Because once you start adding something like blue, well, that's adding a new color in. And what have I not done with the blue? Well, I haven't mixed it, right? There's been no mixing of colors yet, which is not good, right? I want to mix those colors. So the blue would need to make its way into the, you know, into this red, just very, very lightly. I'm not going to go like heavy, you know, blue, but like just a little bit into the red, into the greens in here. Like this blues is going to work its way into the shadow, right? There's going to be some, you know, bounce. Some of that blue's going to make some of this stuff more desaturated. And so like you can add other colors, but you just need to remember to mix them. This is especially true with environments. where you have like a blue light, you know, if the blue is a light source, then you're gonna mix it with all the other stuff. You know, if you have a tree, that blue light source is gonna hit the tree, right? If it's but if let's say you're adding a tree and you already have blue, same thing, right? If you want to add a green to this, well, that green is going to be affected by the blue because you're adding it to a light source. So the light source is already established, right? And so you really, as long as one of your colors is a light and one of them is a non-light, right? Like a skylight is blue, but a red t-shirt is not a light. Like, I don't think you have to mix like your red apple and your green t-shirt together, right? Because neither of those are lights. But you still could, right? You could absolutely get some, you know, bounce light between them. That's how I think of color. It's just a lot of mixing, getting those nuanced colors, you know, keeping, you know, obviously if you have like a bright spot, it can be, you know, you can add some white or something to like desaturate it if you want. But yeah, anyway. That's my color blob. Okay, let's see. 2 variants I had. Let's take a look. Ooh, I like this. I like the one on the left a lot, because I feel like you have an ambient light source kind of with the lighter color. Yeah, so this is I like this. Can I paint over this and just like mess around and just screw around with it a little bit? Okay, why can't I copy your image? Copy image. Okay, I'm taking a screenshot of your screenshot. Yeah, so I'm thinking. Now I'm curious. Do you have a plan with this? Like, it needs to be overcast, crunchy. Yeah. Screenshot of screenshot. Do you have a plan where? Because sometimes when people do illustrations or designs, like, you know, you have an idea, like, this is, you know, especially with dinosaurs that are like from certain periods in time, where like this needs to be overcast or this needs to be sunny, right? Because like if you can add a light to this, light. I mean, I don't know if you want to. I actually really like this. I don't really have much to say, honestly. But yeah, if you wanted to add, like, a color, right? This is where I think you almost can add any color. I mean, I know with dinosaurs, you oftentimes get, like, discoloration, like the, you know, the around the belly and you know, kind of like us, like, our palms might be a little lighter, or, like, different types of skin will have different qualities. You know, you could obviously do that with, like, I don't know, like, I'm just gonna try to do some stuff. Isn't the reflection kind of dictating the lighting? Not really. No, I don't think so. I think water reflections are more to do typically with your vantage point to the water. So it's like, it depends on where the viewer is. Because reflections aren't shadows, right? So anything will have anything will have a reflection in the water. I mean, it's clear that the sky is brighter, right? The sky is obviously brighter, like, we know that because its reflection is darker, and because there is shadow clearly, like, underneath it. But it doesn't really tell us the light. Like, you could still have a light from the side, or, you know, from this side. Not that we need to add that, but yeah, let's try it. Let's try it. So, see, this one I feel like you've started adding color, right? Like, you have a little bit of color in here, and you could do some, like, you know, little bits of highlight if you wanted it more realistic. You know, I'm tempted. I'm afraid. See, at this point, I'm afraid of ruining your image. So hold on, let me make sure I'm on a separate layer. And I realize it doesn't matter if I ruin it, but it kind of also, yeah, I mean, you're clearly going desaturated. So, like, right now you basically just have blue, right? So I guess just pick another color. You said like a purple or something? Maybe we start with like a very desaturated purple, and so you get like a pattern on top, which is like a brownish color, And again, you could kind of add any color, I think. Like, I almost think it doesn't matter. I think what more matters is that your values stay same. There's also this sort of principle, that's not the right word, but this idea that like and I always refer to it, I don't know what the term is or if there is a term for it, but it's something like, if you're mixing colors, maybe I can go back to this one, right? If you're mixing colors and you see a color in your colors, like maybe you see like a purple here, right? And it's not actually purple, it's just a desaturated orange, right? But because my brain is saying purple, I am now allowed to go back into that color that I kind of see and bring some of that out, right? I can be like, that I know that's gonna work because my brain saw it, right? And like, I'm not gonna go crazy with it, but like if I want to add a little accent color, I can add a little bit of an accent because it was already kind of there, right? And it just so happens to be that the, orange and purple are kind of opposites in a way. And so that's a pretty well-known phenomenon. But like, sometimes when you see a color, or, if I see blue here, in this case it is blue, but if you see blue, you can add some blue. So the same, we can kind of use that, I think, whoops, a little bit here. No, I'm late to lesson. It wasn't really a lesson. It was, I've repeated that a lot in the past. But it's basically just mixing colors, and sometimes when you mix colors, they tend towards gray, but that gray is still going to read as, like, another color. And then that to me is like a sign that if I want to add an accent color, I can take that color and crank up the saturation, right? So, like, if you have a gray that looks like a green, you are allowed to, like, go in and add some extra green. Right? This isn't like a real, like, a thing. Like, it's not an art rule. It's just sort of my rule because I feel like it's sort of like a stylistic choice. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, so like maybe if you mix colors, again, I'm not trying to like maintain a lighting. Oftentimes when I'm playing around, once you get like a couple of, varieties, so like here's a purple and a blue, sometimes what you can do, and this doesn't have to be on your painting, but you can just take like a warm color. I like doing this. Again, this is totally choice, or it's my choice. Sometimes you can take like a color dodge and just add something. It doesn't have to be a lot. But maybe you're like, you know what, these colors look nice together. Even this background color. Again, I'm not saying to add a sunset, right? I am not saying that. What I'm saying is this can be the start of, like, basically a color palette, right? You could have that. Like, these colors will look okay together. Right? So if you wanted, you could go do something like that, and you could even get rid of this. If you wanted to add lighting, you could add lighting. That might be a little bit much. I mean, again, dinosaurs can be a little bit realistic looking. But you could totally add things like that, or, a color on its belly. I think the real difficulty here is keeping the form. Like, when I'm painting on this, I'm destroying the form, because I don't know the form. Because I'm bad at art, or bad at dino colors. But I think you could totally do, like, some purple. Or if you didn't want purple, maybe a green. I mean, I said green earlier. Ooh, 5-minute thumbnail sketch. All right. I really like this, though. I honestly think it's good. I don't think there's even much you need to do. I'm just playing around. What if I added some greens or some yellows? I'm painting it really light to try to keep to the same value color. I know with some dinosaurs, and I know especially like feathered dinosaurs, I know Magic the Gathering is not like, paleo art. It's not the best, probably, reference for color schemes for dinos, but, man, Magic the Gathering has amazing dinosaur cards. And again, these look ridiculous, and I realize the form is being destroyed here. But I'm just trying to find colors that can look nice. But, like, here's an example that I was talking about, where, like, if you have green, see, this looks like green, but it's not. This is where I say you're allowed to go into the green and pull that green out. So like maybe it's along the light, you know, you want some green in here. You know, maybe there's like a little punch of something, you know? Like you could add a little bit of green and I think you can get away with it. And of course you don't have to, but I don't know. I'm just playing around with color and seeing what happens. I mean, this is looking worse than what you did, so your art looked way better than mine, or than this. This is not my art, by the way. But yeah, maybe some light could work. I don't know if you want pink light. That might look a little bit silly. I don't know. I'm just trying to add colors and kind of mix them. Use the same thing that I did a second ago. And I still see the 5-minute thumbnail sketch, and I will do that. But like, or here, that pink gives it so much pop. Yeah, you could do some sort of like rim light thing. Also, I think I've messed up on the... I kind of ruined the form. But yeah, you could do some sort of rim light or I don't know. It's very sunsetty. Like this, the pink came from me doing a glow dodge. And I know you were using very desaturated colors. So I don't want to like, you know, make it super, what's the word? Not gaudy. Maybe gaudy's the right word. Very like in your face, heavy handed with saturation. Because that's a stylistic choice that you do not need to do. I like saturation, but not everybody likes it. You know, I don't know. I'm just playing. But yeah, like, what if this one had a little bit of teal in here? Again, I'm still using that glow dodge. So I'm just adding it with that. I don't know. I always liked markings on dinosaurs, so I like to think of colors in terms of, like, marking patterns. But I don't know if that's accurate or... Again, this is where I'm bad at paleo art, because I haven't done enough research into it to know. Maybe there's, like, patterns on this dino, you know, maybe like a light pattern of some sort. And the blue doesn't, again, just because I used the blue and I added it with a light, doesn't mean that the light has to be, like, the blue doesn't have to be a light source, right? This could still be just, like, a pattern on the skin. It doesn't actually have to be a light source. It could just be a lighter thing, right? This might make it look like a weird, like a naked mole rat. It's kind of like the wrinkly rat look. Maybe not ideal. And trying to add some additional color. Again, maybe some overlay is never bad, I guess. But again, that might make it really saturated, so you have to be careful. But yeah, maybe some green. I don't know why I'm liking green. Or some teal. Or both. I don't know. I think as long as you're blending, again, it could be a layer mode, it could be a... There's lots of ways, I think. Maybe it has, like, red feet. I don't know. I'm not great at dino design or creature design, but I have always liked sort of like a... where there's like a logical sort of like, oh, the extremities are, you know, red, or the extremities are darker, you know? I've always liked that color scheme. Where you're sort of... You know, like a cat would have, like, mittens or something. Yeah, markings or patterns or, I don't know. I mean, I'm just throwing ideas out. You can, you know, disregard all of it. I don't really have advice. I think a lot of times there's sort of, you can explore ideas by playing around, you know, with different layer modes, overlays. You know, maybe, or this is, you know, obviously if you wanted to do something like add a green background to it, you know, let's say this thing was existing in a lush environment. I don't really know where it exists, right? Instead of just adding green, right? Because that would not be ideal. And I'm adding it very lightly. I'm not going heavy-handed. I'm mixing that green into the gray that's already there. I can always pull the green out later. But then the green would also make its way into the shadows, right? So you'd have some green mixed in there, maybe some up here. And so, like, you know, get some duller colors in there. Your play with the artwork and running down a process helps a lot. Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things where, especially at this stage, like, I was afraid of messing up your work. I can't imagine how you would feel trying to, like, explore with your work when you've already put in time, and, like, then you wouldn't want to mess it up, right? I run into that all the time where I'm working on something and, you know, I'm like, well, what if something's not right, you know? How do I fix it? And I'm, like, too afraid to go in and, you know, change things. And, like, what if this thing were bigger? You know, like, that's really hard to do when you're so far along. And so, yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of, like, letting someone else paint on it, is because they don't have it. It's not precious to them, or not as precious. And so, like, that could be a thing, you know, if you wanted some green in there to kind of contrast with the purples and the other colors, right? We get some reds, maybe some more greens, I don't know. Maybe there's even some blues in here, right? We already have some blue in there. Could put some blue shining in. I mean, again, a lot of this, I think what makes color interesting for me is that there is a lot of new, like, you can see that I'm not just taking a color and saying this is all blue, right? I am lightly painting in a little bit of blue here, you know, a little bit of blue over here, and I'm kind of just letting it all mix. And by the time I'm done, there's all this nuance. Oh, I don't know what I was doing there, right? There's hopefully all this nuance anyway. And that's kind of what makes the colors work. Like, very rarely is it just like, you know, like, I mean, I guess there is like a graphic design kind of approach to it where you just want the colors to look nice next to each other. But I feel like in painting, you typically don't have that. It's a lot of light. It's a lot of other colors. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe patterns on here. I like this though. This is a neat dino. Anyway, yeah, let's do a 5-minute thumbnail. Let's see. What if I go like that? So I just added a bunch of random stuff. But I kind of kept the base. So I try to keep the base color there. I just added random crap on top. And again, maybe it's a little too saturated. Maybe yours looks better. But it's something. I don't know. It's ideas. Ideas to play with, right? That's kind of what I'm here for. It's just messing around with stuff. Also, I'm going to get rid of these. They're gorgeous, but I don't want people to think that, you know, I don't want to accidentally take credit for your work. So we will just go like that. And we'll turn that layer off. We can keep it there, but okay. There. You don't even need to give some kind of specific or super constructive advice. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of, like, color is tricky because there's so many options and there isn't really a right or wrong. I mean, a lot of it comes down, especially with something like this, right? A lot of it comes down to sort of design or like directional choices. Like, what do you want it to be? Do you want it to be sunset? Do you want it to be moody, you know? Do you want it to be grayer? Like, what is the vibe? Like, I don't know anything about this dinosaur, right? If it's like a predator species or you know, I don't exactly know much. Oh, do I have like a hair in my eye? I did. Like, depending on how you want the viewer to feel, like, a lot of that can be affected by color. And so, like, I don't know what you want to do with it, but there are a lot of choices, and those choices can matter based on other things. So it's not really just about, like, do the colors work, yes or no? But, like, there's a million colors that'll work. And each one of them is going to kind of send a different message. So I think that's what makes color tough, is that I'd have to know a lot. Like, this is where, like, researching, you know? Or, like, if you're the artist, or the writer or the whatever, you're making your own art, like you're gonna know better than anyone sort of the direction you want, which is what makes it so hard for like these more subjective things. It's not like, is your color wrong or right? Like it just kind of depends. Anyway, I'm rambling. Let's art. Let's do a 5-minute thumbnail. I think for this 5-minute thumbnail, we will keep it for next stream because I'm not going to finish one of these today. Because we spent the first half of the stream just working on this. I'm going to bring up the timer. I have so many tabs open, it's ridiculous. Still closing tabs, 1 second. I had like 1 million font tabs open. Okay, let's do a 5-minute thumbnail sketch. See what we can do in that amount of time. Let's make a mess. Maybe. Maybe we'll make a mess. Maybe it won't be a mess at all. Maybe it'll turn out great. I don't know. Start timer. Okay. Also, let's bring back up chat so I can see it. Hey, K-Reg, how's it going? Howdy, howdy. Okay. I don't know. We're going to do an environment. Let's do green, because we were just talking about green environments, and that, green is nice. I think also, another thing that I do, again, this is not like universal advice, I think just establishing a color palette by using, like, a light source. So, again, even if your light isn't going to be in the scene, but I like to, so let's say I have a green and, I don't know, a blue, maybe like a dark blue. I don't know. Could be something like that. So we have some green, we have some blue. Maybe we have some lighter color back here, blue or sky. A couple blues. I don't know what this foreground blue is. But like this is all very overcast, right? And this is why I like layer modes, because layer modes, like what if I made some lines that cut across the image like this, and maybe one up here or something, just something in the sky. What if I added, like, a glow dodge of, like, a bright blue, like moonlight or something, right? This is going to change my colors to get different colors than I would have had otherwise, right? And that creates a new color. That's now, like, I have light and I have shadow for each color, right? My green, actually, I don't have much in the green, right? Maybe we can add some in. So now my green has some light green. There we go. So now my green has some light green where it's in the light. It has some dark green in the shadow. My blue has some dark blue in the light, or in the shadow, and it has some light blue in the light, right? And so I can use that as sort of just a start. And of course, at any point, if I add another color in here, I can mix them, right? Like I add a little bit of purple. I can mix the purple with the dark green and the dark blue. Okay, but I don't like the form here. So I'm gonna make some shapes. What if we have like a I don't know. Just gonna draw some lines. Just drawing some lines. I don't see the timer. I've lost it. Oh, 2 minutes. Okay. I kind of want to go greener. Like greener and bluer. I don't know. There's sort of a look that a color palette that's sort of like, it's always been like, I've seen a few artworks with it. It's very saturated. It's very green and very blue. But every time I try to do that, like to sort of replicate it, sort of from memory, I always fail, and I can't find good references for the color palette that I'm looking for. And so it's always this thing that I come back to, and I'm like, maybe today will be the day that I will get this color palette down, and I'll make it look like the thing, you know. It'll look how I want. Also, I kind of like the green up here. That's kind of neat. Some giant pillars. I don't know. These are pretty standard shapes, I guess. Maybe some like waterfalls coming down here. It's kind of nice. Maybe some darker colors, like a dark. So we're getting a little dark in here. Doing good, says K-Reg. That's good. I'm glad you're doing well. Thank you for the Blue Balooby. Is that how you say your name? Blue Balooby. How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Ooh, the blue vibe. Yeah, I like the blue vibe. It's nice. Maybe there's some shapes going up this way. Kind of guiding Orion. I don't know, just something. I think the time is pretty much up. But I'm just kind of making shapes. Maybe there's some characters wandering around, you know. They're adventuring. Very, very simple stuff. But, you know, maybe there's some tree thingies in here. Just trying to get a vibe, you know? With the blue. I kind of feel like I didn't get it. What if we do like a glow dodge? Really bright blue sky. Shining down. Coming across the scene. Almost alien-like. And then the green we've kind of lost. But what if we add it back in here? Time's up. Uh-oh. Too bad. I'm too bad. Time's still going. No, but this is also, we could take this thing and merge these, and we could continue. The reflecting light on the ground. Yeah, but I mean, maybe again, this is like very saturated, and sometimes it's not very nuanced, right? It's a little heavy-handed. Okay. It made you think of those elvish monuments with the big tree in the middle and those little blue spirits? Oh, like in like Avatar? So, maybe. I mean, so that's funny that you mentioned that, K-Reg. So here's here's a thing that I do a lot when I don't know what I'm painting and I'm just coming up with ideas. If you see something like that, right? You're like, well, what if this was a giant tree in the background, right? It's a massive tree. These things are smaller back here, you know, and like, or maybe not. Maybe that's not the background, right? Maybe this tree will be the background tree. These will be smaller, and so you really want to make a giant tree, and you're say, okay, now I'm going to push this further back. And like you can push it towards that direction that you saw, right? And that's kind of the nice thing about this is like it's sort of like seeing shapes in the clouds, and you can pick and choose where you want to go. Charzia, have a good sleep. Thanks for popping in. Thank you for sharing your art. That your dino looked amazing. Okay, but I don't want to make a giant tree. I actually kind of liked where I was going earlier, but it was on the wrong layer, so we're stuck. I think what I want is some of this stuff to be a little closer. So I'm actually going to do some lines. Maybe there is a big tree here. I'm just going to make some shapes. Maybe these characters, I don't know. Maybe it's a small character and a large character. mean, these could be trees. Maybe it's a whole grove of trees. What's the scale that we want is a good question. Like, do we want to be in the grove, or do we want to be, like, approaching a grove? I kind of like that, and then maybe there's some little negative shapes back here. Maybe we can even bounce the light in here a bit. Maybe some things across the painting to, like, add some angles to kind of point into the scene, create a bit of a focal point. I don't know. I'm trying to think very compositionally here, just adding shapes that look appealing, sort of drawing our eye into a direction. Maybe back here there's some sort of like, if this is the horizon line, these shapes are all kind of, you know, creating a little line here. Almost like a line that goes this way, you know? We could also introduce more colors, although I think I need to bring back some of this green. Because I do want to try and keep a green-blue color palette. This is also where, like, you know, adding some stuff on top of the trees could be a nice touch that'll help, you know, solidify the perspective. You know, it'll make us know that, like, we're looking underneath these trees because there's more shadow down here, right? And we can't see much of the green up top. You know, whereas, like, here, maybe there's, you know, just, I don't know, I feel like it helps. I think it helps anyway. I kind of like this, actually. It's almost like a giant hill off to the side. I wonder if I want to lean into that aspect of the painting. Maybe I get rid of the characters entirely. And then I bring them back in a moment. Okay, I want to try to push this into, like, a giant hill. So maybe this tree needs to leave. Okay, I have an idea. This is going to totally change it. But I'm trying to get some movement in here. Movement in art. Gesture, all that. Also, like, physical movement, I guess. You could have things literally moving, like a horse running. There, something like this, where this is sort of coming into the foreground, but there's these sort of hilly area back here. And then maybe actually this goes away. Maybe it's something like that. But then these could have more hills with a little bit of that light. Is there a way green that we can grab? I don't know. Does that look like it's far away? Not really, but I think it'll work. And then we can add our characters back. But I want to add some of that there. I don't know. I thought it looked kind of neat. Maybe there's like a... Just, I do like this stuff. This stuff to me is almost therapeutic. It's sort of, you can play around with composition. You can just, you're just playing around with shapes and you know, sometimes an idea will pop into your head, like, what if this were a giant house? You know, what if I put a building up here? And then you say, okay, well, let's make this a building. You know, here's a little building. We'll give it some windows, some, you know, a little place sticking out. Maybe there's like December will be your perspective practice. I find that every day perspective practice. I just feel like so much of art is perspective, even when you're drawing things as in like a, you know, like a tree, you know? The fact that we're looking up at the tree means that these contours, even if you can't see the contours, are gonna go upward, right? Also, this song is so loud. There we go. But, like, I don't know how people draw anything without thinking about perspective. Like, how do you draw a character without doing perspective? Every form that you draw is going to wrap either upward or downward, depending on if you're looking up or down at it. Or, like, there's always going to be, you know, depending on how sort of foreshortened things are, is your ellipse going to look like this? Or is it going to look like this, right? Like, that depends on the angle that you're looking at, right? Like if a circle is this way versus this way, right? Like, it is possible. I'm sure it is. I feel like every form, because I guess for me, form and perspective are so intertangled, right? Like, if you're drawing something with form, I mean, obviously you can do like 2D stuff, like very flat, like graphical shapes, you know, like, you know, character walking or something, and, you know, this is totally how I draw characters walking, you know, character walking in 2D, and yeah, I'm not really thinking about but I am even here, right? Like, here's his waist, and, you know, I don't know what's going on, but I'm not good at drawing that. But, like, I guess, I don't know. That's what, yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you do two-dimensional graphical things, but I think, yeah, it's definitely possible, but it just feels like it's uncommon. Like, it's very rare that people will show art or share, you know, especially if you're like a beginner trying to share their art. And it doesn't have to be a beginner, but really just anybody who maybe doesn't think of themselves as, like, you know, an amateur, I guess, of some sort, right? Outside of, like, design or very specific stylistic choices, it just feels very rare that you see it. And all the rest of, like, if I had to bet, right, without seeing someone's art, chances are they should be thinking of perspective whether or not they are, right? Like, there obviously are exceptions, but I just feel like those exceptions are rare for, like, your general public getting into drawing. You know, if you want to draw your character, you're probably not doing T-poses for everything, right? Even most concept art for characters still has some perspective. Like, not, you know, obviously you can do, like, isometric stuff that is, you know, basically lacking any sort of real perspective. It's overrated? No way. It's underrated. I feel like when you talk about fundamentals in art, I feel like in some ways it's oftentimes overshadowed, especially in, like, sort of amateur circles of, like, it's overshadowed by things like anatomy. People will look at someone's drawing and they'll say, oh, your anatomy is off. Well, how do you draw correct anatomy if you can't draw the simple forms in perspective? Like, how, again, unless you're doing a T-pose or, you know, you're intentionally doing some, like, other way of drawing like, it's just, how do you get those proportions? It surely, yeah, well, believability. I mean, I'm not even like, again, there are exceptions, right? I just mean for, like, the general random person who comes in, whether it's from into my stream or whether it's, you know, random person on Twitter or random person on Reddit saying, hey, you know, I'm struggling to draw a character. Would you critique my character? Half the comments will be like, oh, it's anatomy. Use reference. And I'm almost always looking, I'm like, it's not an anatomy issue. It's a perspective issue. Like, yes, it's drawing anatomy in perspective, but, like, no amount of reference is going to help if you can't draw the basic forms in perspective, right? Because they're drawing in perspective. And so I just feel like it's one of those things where everyone knows they need to know perspective, but so often perspective is the issue, and then you point to another issue, which is not perspective. I don't know. It just, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. It's very case by case basis. It's hard to draw, generalities. I don't want to like make blanket statements. But understanding perspective and how it works are important. Winging something you've never really understood doesn't work. It doesn't, and I think that's the tricky part, right? Is that I think perspective is very precise, kind of, and so it's very clear when you don't understand something. And again, I'm not saying that I'm precise with my perspective. I'm sloppy as heck. But I do feel like there's I don't know. I don't even know what point I'm trying to make. I'm just rambling. Ignore me. Ignore me. I'm rambling. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. What do I know? Okay. I was slowly shifting my character pose to more complex ones, so it will be perfect for my shift to heavy perspective. Ooh, that sounds tough though. Yeah, good luck. I mean, yeah, characters and perspective is so complicated. Like it. At least for me. I don't know. I struggle with that. That's probably why I don't do characters. Or it's one of the reasons, I think. What am I doing here? I want to bring in some of that lighting again. That's why so many people can draw the normal perspective, but completely crumble when they have to draw extreme perspective. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us, most people learn to draw very, like, intuitively, like, pattern recognition. And so, yeah, I think most people learn a few patterns for, how to draw a head, how to draw a torso, how to draw feet, sort of in a perspective that's given to them, but without really thinking about what perspective it is. So it's just like, this is how I draw a character. But you're not really thinking about perspective. You're drawing in perspective, but you're not actually thinking about it, right? Because like you're learning habits and patterns, sort of. Like it'd be like saying if you knew how to draw a car and you always drew it this way. You start out by drawing the wheels, the back. This is not how you draw cars, I know, but and then you're like, okay, but now I'm gonna make it 3D, and then you go like this, and you're like, okay, well I get how to do this, right? Like here's a thing. It's not good, but it's a thing. And you're like, great, here's my car. Like I drew in perspective, but if this is how you always drew stuff in perspective, could you then draw a different angle? Like maybe not. Maybe you just have learned patterns that kind of make it work in this angle, You know that you kind of draw these two parallel lines. Also, this is the worst car I've ever drawn. But like, and oh, you're like, okay, well, this needs to, wheels have this thing on them, you make them thick on one side and not on the other. But like that's not good. I don't know. I think there's a lot of pattern recognition in art, and sometimes those patterns sort of carry the load of like, I don't need perspective because I know patterns that make it work. And that's true to some degree. But I don't know. I think it can lead people astray a little bit. It's my hunch. I mean, again, I'm not immune to this either. Anytime I say, like, this is a thing people get wrong, so do I. I mean, I'm speaking from experience here. I'm probably, my perspective sucks most of the time. And I just got called out, like, 2 streams ago for, like, do you always draw the same perspective? And I'm like, I kind of do. Turns out I just fall into the same pattern of drawing the same thing because it works, and I just to shut my brain off. And yeah, so I made a point of doing a stream with like drawing from top down view as opposed to sort of this view that I'm drawing right now. which is always a little bit upward looking. Like, how many people actually know that when you're looking up at a tall building, the windows would be drawn smaller and with less detail the further up the way they are from you? It seems obvious to me, but I've also, because I've actually... Yeah, or like... Or even things like, yeah, like when you're looking up at a window, also, depending on if you're drawing like 3-point perspective, you'll actually see more of the top side of the window. So like if here's the windowsill and there's a potted plant, you know, this part, as you go down the building, you're actually going to see less of it, right? Right, and so you're going to see less, like, because eventually when you're at ground level, right, that window, so if you were to follow this down, right, eventually, here, let me restart, because this is, right, so, hold on, let me go to a clean slate, right, but, like, this window up here, by the time you get down to ground floor, you're not seeing as much of this underside of this window, or this door in this case, as you will be if you're up here. And down here, you might actually be able to see, like, the windowsill, right? So, like, maybe you can actually see a little bit of this down here, and you can't see the top. But by the time you get to the top, you're basically looking straight up at the top of the window, and you can't really see, and so there's going to be scrunching, right? This thing's going to be foreshortened, so this is going to be shorter. This, you're going to see more of that because you're basically now drawing a box from below, right? Like, well, I did a bad job of it, but you know, you're basically drawing a box from below. That's not how you draw a box from below. Right? You're basically drawing a box from below, right? And so you see a lot more of this top edge and a lot, you know, the underside, and you see a lot less of, you can't see the top. But as you get down here, you're going to see a lot less of the bottom side of the box, right? If any. Sometimes you might even see the top side of the box, right? You might be seeing this. And so, depending on what you're looking at, or how you're looking at it, like, that's something that's tricky, I think. And so a lot of times, yeah, you run into those issues. And of course, there's things like scale, right? That you know, anytime, God, this is what I do all the time. Or like if you're drawing a lot of buildings, you'll draw a character in your scene, like a certain height, but then you won't sort of scale them to where, like, if this is a person, but then you'll have a door that is this big, right? Or a door that is this big. And then up here, you'll have a door that is this big, and it's like, well, why is this person half the size of the door here and they're 2/3 of the size here? Like, you know, there's sort of, you scale things at different rates, and I don't know, there's all sorts of issues that can go wrong. And again, they're easy to go wrong, but that's like, it's just because we're relying on patterns and we're not really thinking things through, and I don't know. I do feel like perspective is, like, everybody knows it's important, I think. But I do think it's one of those things that is probably more neglected than even anatomy. That's my hunch. Hot take. Hot take Tuesday. No, it's not a Tuesday. It's a Monday. Hot take Monday. Okay. What am I doing here? I'm just noodling. Let's add some color dodge. Let's add some colors. I mean, I guess this is true for all of art, right? We all have patterns that we use and rely on. You know, people do it for colors as well. I just feel like perspective is one of those things where it oftentimes doesn't get the blame because anatomy wins out. I don't know. That's at least something I see a lot online. I don't know if it's as common in, like, in live art spaces where people will be like, you need to study anatomy. And they're like, but I did use a reference. And it's like, oh, well, that's probably not the issue. I mean, it could be still, but it probably is more that, like, you're unable to draw what's in the reference and transpose it into your painting because you're not following a perspective. You know, your perspective is wonky, and don't know how to take one thing and take it, you know, from one to the other. And that seems like to me, it just seems very common. Okay, but anyway, I'm painting. What am I painting here? I don't know. I wanted this to look really green. Really green and really blue. And I'm kind of lost some of that. The upward view is so nice for landscape, though. It does give you a feeling of scale and vastness. I do like the upward view. I think it's a great view for landscapes. I also think it's a heck of a lot easier because you kind of get to play with silhouettes of things, right? When you're looking up at something, you can more or less, unless you're really underneath it, you can pretty much preserve the silhouette. When you're painting from above, like just a couple streams ago, I did some paintings from above. I did this one, which turned out okay-ish. But the thumbnails for this day were even more extreme. So like I had, this, but like oftentimes the buildings when you're painting from above don't look like buildings. Maybe or this is, top down, which I didn't do a very good job of. But like this doesn't really look like a tree. This isn't your iconic tree that looks like this, right? Like it doesn't look like a tree. It looks like a circle, or blobs, and it's hard sometimes, I think, to draw things sort of graphically, because so much of my art anyway, I start very graphically, and like if I'm drawing a house, if I were to fill this in, does this shape look like a house to me? Not really, right? Like that doesn't look like a house, right? Whereas this shape, well, this one does a little bit, right? This one much more. Like, these look like buildings. If I were to fill these in, I think we could probably still identify them as buildings. Because they have the pointy roofs, which help. But this one doesn't, because it's off the page, and you can't tell. These do, right, again, our eyeline's a little bit on the page here, and so these do have a little bit of house shape to them. But even then, the silhouette is not, like, there's no wall here, right? Normally when you draw a house, or at least I draw a house, I would think of something like this, right? You'd put these two walls here. Well, that doesn't happen in this, right? This wall's here, but this one isn't. It kind of flattens out. Or this one, right? Where are those walls? And it's just a very weird shape to make sort of graphically because you're looking down at it, and it kind of breaks your brain a little bit. And so I had to... It took a lot more brain power to even draw something like this than it does to draw something from below. Now, obviously, extreme below angles, you're literally looking underneath something. This one is not extreme, right? I pretty much started with the house shape here. But if you're too extreme, you're also then start to look underneath the thing, and it's like, what does a tree look like when an extreme below view? Well, like this, I guess, right? Like, it's kind of a weird, that's a weird shape, sort of, and like the tree is gonna go like this, kinda, and like what's happening, It's just a very bizarre shape to have, and it's not inherently tree shaped, I guess, depending on your angle. But yeah, a nice low angle is good though. I really enjoy them. They're definitely my favorite to paint. I'm making like stripes in this environment. It kind of looks neat. Also, it's kind of helping show the form a little bit. Very blue. I like the blueness to this. But do you understand the house pattern? The house pattern. What do you mean by that? Define what you mean by the house pattern. I may not. This is very blue. I don't know if I like that blue. Eh. It's okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that. The house pattern. For a moment, I thought you were referencing a book I was talking about a while back, but I don't think you are. Like, you show one house, then you can slowly shift into a single rectangle, and we can still understand. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's a good way to do it, I think. Where, like, you draw... I mean, I think I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so you can show a house, right? Maybe in all of its glory. You know, you show all the, you know, all sides of it, a very clear one. And then as you go, like, uphill, right? So if this is low hill, this is uphill. By the time you get to the uphill one, maybe the house will look like... you know, something different than the original house. And, like, our brain will still understand pretty well what we're looking at. Do you mean that? Where, like, by the time the shape has been disfigured, like, obviously this still looks like a house, but if we went higher than that, right, pretty soon we might be looking underneath the thing, or maybe it's like, you know, we're just seeing the tippy top or something because it's behind the curve. So it's like, it's hard to draw it here, but you can sort of imply it because you know. Yeah, that's a really fun thing to do in art. That's one of my favorite things to ramble about with, like, crowds. You know, you don't need to draw every person or every detail. You just establish it once, and you say, here is the character, right? Red shirt, blue pants, right? Green hat. And then every time you go like this, you're like, oh, those are the green hats, right? And these are the red shirts, right? And, oh, these are the blue pants. And, like, okay, this is a group of people, right? How do we know it's a group of people? It's just a blur. Well, we know it is because we've established, you know, and especially if you put some little leg shapes down here, like, we know that these are people now because we've established that, like, these are people. That's what those shapes are. And they don't look like people if I go like this, right? If this is all that you saw, I don't know if you would be able to tell what this is. I mean, maybe, right? Because there's some pattern there to, like, you know, hats on these people or something. But, like, you know, these kind of look like legs, but not really. You know, it's kind of a blur, especially if you have, like, a bunch of stuff. Like, maybe you put some, you know, smaller versions. And, you know, maybe some of these have different colored. You know, there's some orange in there, right? Maybe there's some stuff back here too. And, like, how do you know that these are people? Well, you don't. I mean, you do, only because this one is giving you context, right? And so you could have other things back here. And your brain is pretty good at picking that stuff out, you know? Especially once you start getting some shadow shapes, and those shadow shapes have, like, you know, vague head shapes in them, even if the characters themselves don't have heads, but the shadows make them look like people with heads. I'll put the light coming towards us, you know, and then this character has shadow coming towards us too. Right, like, you can do a lot. But yeah, you can do a lot with so little just by establishing sort of like a visual communication style, or like a language, you know, like, here's a character, and then here's another character, you know. Anyway, I find it really fascinating. I think there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with implying shapes. Thanks for the hydrate. I know Marco Bucci has a painting tutorial on, it might be Schoolism or somewhere, that I watched once. I don't remember where it was. I think it was Schoolism. Where he kind of talks about this. He breaks down his Marco Bucci. He actually here he breaks down a Disney painting. Marco Bucci, Beauty and the Beast. He breaks down like his painting process for. Here, I'll show you the image. Well, it was this image. I can't find the original. I'm sure it's out there. But he broke down this image and he talks about that a lot where like a lot of these people are not fully painted. I mean, they are pretty rendered, but like especially back here, like they're just vague shapes, but like he kind of establishes one character in full, you know, there's a couple others, but then there's a lot of just like big blobby painterly brushstrokes, you know, gesture almost with like a face that looks like an abomination. But really you only have like there's just only a few faces. Like this person's face isn't in full. Anyway, this is like a photo of a book. Hold on, let me find the actual image. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, he talks about that. He talks about that concept in that painting, where like he's choosing to not put in detail in people's faces or their, you know, not every part. Like there's parts of of each character that are just blurs, right? There's arms that are lost in the form, but like we know they're there because one, they're people and we understand how people work. But like there's things he employs to do that well, and I thought it was neat. It's just a like that's a thing that I think we all do a lot. I mean, I do that with trees, you know. You can get away with very blurry blobs because you know they're vaguely tree-shaped. But yeah. Flamingo... Oh, I should probably sit up straight. Oh, I should probably end stream here pretty soon. I'm getting tired, and we made some good progress today. We did our Christmas card. So this was our Christmas card. We didn't really paint on it today, actually. We just did the graphic design elements. We added some snowflakes, a border, yeah, basically all of that, which was nice. I'm really I know this doesn't look like much, but for me this was such a big step. Like this was like I learned a lot just how to use Clip Studio, how to change, you know, download fonts, how to use some of the graphical stuff like the not the raster, the vectors and different things. Anyway, I feel like I learned a lot. Okay, I kind of want to try something here. What if I take this painting, shift it that way, and then go like that? And also, maybe there's some... I don't know, just shapes. I'm just making shapes here. What if these shapes were blue? I think for me, the reason I wanted to add some blue in here, I just wanted this place to feel more blue and green, right? Right now there's a lot of really dark colors that could honestly be any color. But doing a lot of fill light with that blue, I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna look good. Maybe also some gray to like get some reds in here. I don't know. It's fun to just play with stuff like this, though. I have a good time doing it. Maybe there's some waterfall stuff. I kind of mentioned that earlier. The Christmas card looking great, by the way. Thank you. Look amazing. Thanks. I appreciate it. I'm trying to make some like oh, wrong layer. Undo, undo, undo. What about a little waterfall? Oh, that's what we could do. The scale is weird back here. I don't know if I like that. Scale is funky. Go larger in the foreground. I don't know. My brain's pretty much shut off at this point. But it is fun. It is fun just to play around with stuff, you know, add dark to it. Maybe we add some overhangs to like feel, you know, maybe we want to play around with scale, so maybe we make this thing even smaller. Oh, not like that. But like, you know, something like this. This is very tiny, but, you know, what if we took this and extended all these things way upward? This is something I always think of Skittle, because we talked about this quite a bit whenever this concept comes up, where like you're painting at the same scale that you always paint at. And so sometimes just taking your art and making it really, really tiny or really, really big and zoom in can help sort of reestablish the scale that you're drawing at. You know, so like now my focal point is much smaller, but my trees are also more extreme and exaggerated. You know, you have a lot more small shapes in here. The concentration of detail, especially in these shadows areas, are just much more extreme. It's really it's easy to like forget that you're allowed to change up these things. And of course then some stuff here. Maybe this stuff could also come down here. But yeah, that's something that I really enjoy doing, where you're basically just coming in here and adding lots of smaller shapes. Just really pushing the envelope. No, not the envelope. The scale. The concentration of detail. Shapes here. A few months ago, I went to the art museum. That's where I also noticed that paintings were made to be viewed at certain distances. True. True, true. And I'm not talking about the detail, but some just don't read from afar. Well, that was much more common back in the day, where people, like, because nowadays there's an entire design philosophy shift, right? So a lot of it comes from, I think, like social media. You know, people really put in a sort of a premium emphasis on thumbnail. You know, you need these clear graphical reads. That wasn't true back in like Rembrandt's day, right? That wasn't true. Like if you look at, you know, like a Rembrandt painting, they're not that clear in a graphical read, right? They have characters who just an arm in light will be the silhouette, right? It reads graphically from a like contrast point of view, but you don't have silhouette, right? Silhouette oftentimes gets lost. Not always, of course, but like, I mean, sometimes it reads well, right? Like this one, I think does read pretty well. But like if you kind of squint your eyes and make it really tiny, really all you know is that like you don't really know what this character is. You can't see him from a like you can see that you're supposed to look here, right? Like there's obviously a bright spot here, but like it's not clear, is this bright spot a character? Like this is pretty clearly a character, right? There's a head shape. But like this isn't. This is like a half of an arm, and then the other half is in shadow. And like you know you're supposed to look there, but it's not immediately obvious what it is, right? The story doesn't come across as, I mean, that again, this is a pretty graphical one, but not every painting from that time, like they directed your eye with light, right? There was still the idea of using light to like guide the eye, but it wasn't, here is the silhouette of a man against a door frame. No, it was like the man is half in light, half in shadow, very convoluted. You still look there, but then you have to decipher it a little bit, right? That doesn't happen as much today, right? There is a little bit of it. It happens a lot in film because you're in the scene already. But in terms of that initial read, we really don't typically, you know, we don't like you're not already there to look at the painting, right? You haven't walked into the room and like, wow, there's a big painting, and then you see it, right? We need to get your attention from the initial read. It's just a different way of thinking about it. And yeah, back in the day, there was a lot of like, you really do get up close and you see a lot of the detail, and but you also just like that initial read is different because they had different priorities, right? I mean, there was still composition, right? The compositional elements didn't really change, but it's more of that initial read. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's quite interesting. It's just a nice reminder that like, yeah, different things are going to be viewed differently. I think another good example of this is actually, like I talked about it a bit with puzzle art, because puzzles are kind of different. And yes, this is more about detail, and like, yeah, you still need an image that reads well, but you can also put stuff in the image, or you can tell a story in a different way. The story doesn't have to come through initially, because it's not that important. Once you spend time with it and look down at it for a long time, like there's different, you're just interacting it with it in a different way, and so you design it for a different way, right? You don't have to, you're not really looking to earn clicks on, or, view time on Instagram or something. It's just a different, I don't know, it's just different. So yeah. That do be a thing. A lot going on in those paintings, and you watch them for hours. Yeah. I don't know about hours, but yeah, certainly much longer. I don't have an attention span for that. I'm sure some people have stared at those paintings for hours. Or if you're doing a study, right? This is where one of the nice things about studies for artists, right? A lot of times you do look at paintings for hours. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever looked at a painting for more than, I don't know. I wonder what the like running total time of looking at a painting. What is the longest painting that I've looked at? I mean, it's got to be a painting that I did for a study. But there's probably even paintings where like I'll set it as my desktop background and I will, look at it every once in a while. When I turn on my computer, if I turn it off or something, or when I minimize a tab, and like I'll catch a glimpse at it and that time will tick up, It's sort of like your play time in an app to, it records how long you've looked at your phone. I bet some of it's pretty high. But I don't know what painting would be the most for me. I can't even begin to guess. Probably some painting that I had as a desktop background in like high school or something that just sat on my computer for years that I didn't change. There was some photo bash painting of like a post-apocalyptic scene with like a toxic waste sign on it that I had for years on my computer. I don't know what it was or what it was from, but it just was on my computer. This is long before I got into art. And I don't know where that, that might be the top painting that I've seen. Or it wasn't really, I guess it is a painting. Kind of like this. But yeah, I think this is a good spot to end. Good spot to end stream. We made some good progress today. And I think I'm ready to order this Christmas card. Where's my fog layer? Oh. I still wasn't sure if I should have the fog or not. I do think I want the fog. It's a little bit light, but I think it's good. I think it creates a bit of a vignette, so this is less important. This is more important. Maybe I could come in here and... You like the snow on the roof? There's not much snow on the roof. There's not much. What's the small roof? Oh, this thing. Like the awning? The awning or the eave? I think it's an awning. I don't know what's the difference between an eave and an awning. Hold on, let me Google that. Eave versus awning. According to the robot on Google, the difference between awnings and eaves are as follows. Awning, a roof-like cover, usually made of canvas that extends over a place to shelter from the sun, rain, or wind. And eaves, the underside of a roof that extends beyond the walls of a building, primarily designed to direct rainwater. So, okay, so same purpose, direct rainwater away from the walls. But one is more like a part of the roof, and the other is like an extra thing. So these would be eaves, I think. These are more like eaves, although because it's kind of its own roof. I think those are eaves. The veranda roof. Oh, is that what it's called? Veranda roof. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's a veranda roof. Images. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. A veranda. I don't know. Awnings are over windows and doors. Yeah, but this is over a window and a door, but I still think you would call it an eave. Because it's technically like a built-in... It doesn't feel like an additional thing. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't actually know. I don't... We need Raychiana in here. They would know. They're an architect. They would probably know this. Actually, maybe not. I don't always... I know a lot of times... No, I think typically people are pretty good at technical language like that, but... But anyway, let's save this. But yeah, we are gonna end stream. This is a good spot to stop. Here's our thumbnail that we messed around with for a bit. And here's the painting that we did. And we're gonna raid somebody. Let's go. Totally not Mario. Okay. Who shall we go to? Sir Dracier's online. Go to Sir Drakier. He's a lot of fun. If you guys don't know Sir Dracula, I feel like he is. If you ever need energy, I feel like he has so much energy. I think his stream is for mature audiences only, isn't it? I actually don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just making that up. I think it's labeled as 18 plus, but probably doesn't matter. He's pretty chill, but yeah, his stream's so much fun. I feel like I just go to his stream and I get motivated. Like I right now I'm like a potato. I'm sort of exhausted. My brain is fried. I can hardly think about anything, and I'm, you know, I don't really have any motivation to paint right now because it's all sort of been expended. But then I will go to somebody like Sir Dracula, and it's like, oh, now I'm motivated to paint again. Oh wait, Rachiona's here. Hold on. Eve is built as part of the roof, extends beyond the wall. Awning is aftermarket part to provide shader cover. Eve is not always just for shader cover. Okay. So this would be, I was kind of thinking the aftermarket thing too. That was sort of in my brain. So this feels like it would be more like an Eve, not an awning. Because, I mean, technically the Eve would be the thing that hangs over, right? But this feels more Eve-like than awning-like because it's probably part of the building. I don't know. That's how I would define it. But what do I know? I'll just take your word for it. I'll follow raid though. Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's always nice. All right, see you guys. The raid's sending off.
I'm being raided? Hey Jay, how you doing? I'm being raided. That took me totally by surprise because I was focused and I was thinking, oh, Jay, correct. Welcome in, Joe. How you doing? I'm doing well. How are you? I'm doing well as well. I'm doing good. I was doing a Parasite study from the movie. But then I'm taking my shot in backgrounds, by the way. And now I'm doing a Carry the Stranger one. You know? How you doing, Jay? What you working on? How was your stream? And welcome, Mean Raiders. My name is Drashir. Is that a Akira? That is of Akira. We better a Christmas card today. Do we wanna share? Also, people that don't know that are here don't know Jay Stiller. Jay Stiller is an amazing environment artist. Like amazing. Look at this. Your art is amazing. Do you wanna share anything? Do you wanna show anything? Feel free to do it. And I just grabbed my coffee. I'm gonna be for a long time. Thank you so much for the shout out for Jay. We fumble around graphic design. Oh, graphic design is my passion. Oh, this looks so cute. This looks super cute. This look from Joe. My favorite things about Christmas are the decorations, by the way. This looks super cute, Joe. I love this. It has the right mood. You are super good in mood and environments. But I didn't know what I was doing, but I had chat help. Oh, this is looking good. I'm a graphic design by formation, by education, and this is looking amazing. This is looking good. Don't worry about it. You are doing fantastic. Also, this is on my favorite one. So welcome in, Raiders. My name is Drashir. I'm an illustrator and a streamer.